Hello, everybody. Welcome. I am going to play you this just little intro. This is especially for Lana this evening because I know, well, I don't know her feelings about NK. I tried to watch the most recent video about NK, but it was 11 hours long. So here is a 5-minute intro video for you guys while I go and set up my mouse traps. And welcome everyone, and welcome Truth and Transparency, and enjoy.
I have all these things that I can't tell you.
Thank you so much for coming out here with me, Christopher. I'm having a wonderful time. You mean a lot to me, and I'm glad that you're having a blast. I am so out of breath.
Hi. It's me. You guys just call me back when you have a chance. Hi. Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi. Call me back. Bye.
I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. And I mean, the reason I ask him this is because if I get in a relationship with somebody, I want to know like what kind of baggage that they have. I think that's important. If I walk into a situation where I'm like, hey, I have good credit and I have all these things and I have all these things and I have all these things, and I have all these things that I can't tell you like the exact words of the exact conversation at the exact time and place, because it's like we had a lot of conversations. I mean, we talked every single day. So it's like I'm trying to help you guys with the stuff like the stuff that's more current. I can give you guys a lot more like detail and exact times. When you're asking me about something that happened 6 weeks ago and exactly what was said, it's like, I mean, I'm sure I can give you a general idea, but to be honest with you, like to pinpoint exact words, it's not gonna happen.
June 27th, 2018. Chris Watts brings condoms to my house. One box is full and unopened. The second is a set of condoms from a partially used box. I asked CW why he has a set of partially used condoms. CW informs me that the condoms he has are from back when he was still having sex with his wife. CW told me they had been sitting in the closet collecting dust, and that SW, Shanann Watts, probably did not even know that they were there. I asked Chris Watts why him and SW used to use condoms. CW informed me that SW didn't like to get messy, I was curious, so I looked up the expiration date on the condoms and noted that the unopened set expired in late 2022, and the open set expired in early 2023. I looked up the lifespan of an unopened condom and discovered it's approximately 5 years. Based on my research, I assume these condoms were manufactured in late 2017 and early 2018.
I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's a dad. I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. I mean, when he was with me, I considered it to be fairly healthy. It was open communication. And it was what I thought was honest. And it was very calm. It was respectful. We got along really well. He gave me my space when I needed it. I gave him his. And anytime, like, he wanted to take care of it, like, anytime that his kids could be in, like, his life for hours or days or whatever, whenever they were home, I made sure that I wasn't. Anytime that his kids could be in, like, his life for hours or days or whatever, whenever they were home, I made sure that I wasn't.
This is what we know about the timeline in the beginning of their relationship. Watts receives his first email from Kessinger on June 12th. It says, "Chris, thank you for being honest with me this morning. Truthfulness is so underrated in our culture. Saludos cordiales, Nikki." On June 14th, 2018, Chris Watts enters his coworker Nicole Kessinger's contact information into his work phone for the first time. On June 22nd, Shanann and Chris leave for San Diego to go on their Thrive trip, and they return on the 26th. On June 27th, 2018, Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Shanann's father, Frank, fly to North Carolina. They'll stay there for 5 weeks. Could it be on that same evening, June 27th, 2018, according to Nicole Kessinger's 7-page letter to law enforcement, Chris Watts arrives at her apartment with 2 boxes of condoms. 1 box is full and unopened. A second set of condoms is partially used. The whole world knows about that.
It was very calm. It was respectful. We got along really well. He gave me my space when I needed it. I gave him his.
No, she had her moments where I had to talk her like off a ledge kind of deal. What's that mean? Like, I guess after the fact, there was like videos of her that she was like recording herself because she was like bipolar or something. I don't know that. But there, it's like she would get worked up about nothing. She would just like, she came to my house once because I think it was like July 4th. I didn't have to work that day. So I didn't like get up at like, 4 o'clock and go home. And Shanann called me like 10 times in a row. And I didn't hear it because I was sleeping. I was just like, and she was pissed. Shanann was pissed. And like I called her on outside, like, where are you at? Like, I was like, I didn't have to work today. I was like, he called me at like, 5:30. He was like, well, kids want to talk to you at 7:30. Like I was sleeping. She was like, screw you, like, like, I don't know where you're at. And I went back inside, I told me, I gotta go. And she was just like, okay, are you coming back? I'm like, probably not. So wait a minute, you kind of lost me there.
Were you at Nikki's place when
Yeah.
Shanann called you?
Yeah.
Okay, and then she was sleeping in her bed.
Yeah, because I was going to work that day. I didn't have to that day. Okay. First time I ever got off. And, you know, she now was pissed. And, you know, I kind of pissed Nikki off too that I left. But I think that's when I called Nikki later and she was like, you know, like, she kind of realized that, you know, she'd always be like, you know, the second, she said second fiddle. That's right. And because that's how I would come back that day. Just, you know, I don't want to be anywhere else when Shanann calls. She was already pissed. So it was stuff like that where she would go. She said she would go on like websites and look at like, will our relationship work with somebody? Like, will a mistress work? Will a mistress turn into a relationship?
That's what Nikki was looking at.
Yeah.
She would tell you that, or you were
told me
okay.
that. Yeah, she said that she would go on websites and look at stuff like that. Just to,
All right. So let's see here. All right. Hi, guys. How are you? Let's see what this lighting is like here. That's all right, I guess. Hi, guys. Welcome. It's so nice to see everybody. It's always something, right? So sorry I started a little late. I saw a mouse running around my house. I think in the wintertime, sometimes we get, I like to tell myself it's like one or two at a time because we'll be aware that one is around and then take care of it and it's gone and we don't hear anything. But the last time, yeah, we just didn't want the mouse. Something kind of gross happened last time. We don't need it. So welcome. How's everyone doing today? And Allison, I just emailed you the link, or no, I sent it to you Facebook Messenger. Okay. Let's see here. And hi, Joan. Hi, Mod Squad. Hi, Salon Savvy. And support with Steffa. Hello. Angelica, how you doing? Just Larry. Hey, how you doing, neighbor? Just Larry's like, I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes up the road from me. Very cold today, right? Yeah. Hello, Canadian Mama. I know you. A, right? It's A. Hello, Cuddlefish Rabbit. Oh, rabbits. Hi, Ellen B. How are you? Thank you for the comment today. That was really nice. Hi, Bumblebee. Let's see who else is here. And Melissa Klein. Hello, New Orleans lady. And going up, Molson man, right? How you doing, Molson man? And Joan, you're wonderful. Cecile, thank you so much for being here and for helping out. Token Hottie, how you doing? To the moon. Somebody was very happy. Oh, was it? Somebody was very happy to see you in their chat recently. I was watching a live stream, and oh, maybe it was our girl here. I can't remember. Maybe it was. And let's see what's here. Hi, Callie. How you doing? Hi, Vicky. It's always nice to see you, Callie. She's a sweetheart. Love Callie. And let's see. I'm just gonna go up a little more. Mark Klein, how you doing? And anyone else? Truth and Transparency. How's it going? And Mama 3. I wonder if Mama Jane D's here. Mike dropping mom. I really like that name. Very nice. Awesome. So, well, I'm just going to bring Lana on right now. So everybody, please give her a warm welcome. Let's see. Add this one. And add this one. Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So nice to have you on. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, lots of excitement.
I liked your intro.
Thanks. Yeah, the NK intro. So, I got a message from somebody, a sub of the channel yesterday, and she was just like, how could you do this? She doesn't think that NK was involved, like sacrilegious. How could you, and I was like, just relax. We don't really know that she was. We just like to think she was. But yeah, there was a little bit of uproar about that.
I don't know. It's a toss up.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? What do you think about? Let's just get started. What do you think about? What do you think about NK? What do you think about the possibility of anyone else being involved in any way, whether it's planning the act or the cover up? Which it doesn't really seem like there was one. I don't know.
Well, hello to everybody in chat. Hi to your mods. Hi to my mods. As far as it being other people being involved, I definitely have to say that I don't believe that this was premeditated.
No.
So, the involvement, if something happened after the fact, I do think that something, obviously happened on the 13th. Once Shanann got home. I do think that Shanann knew all about NK prior to getting home. She found out about everything in Arizona.
Right.
I think the evidence is there in the discovery for that.
Just imagine being pregnant and finding that out and then being away from home and then having to go home that's just terrible.
Yep. I think that there was something off that she knew with while she was in North Carolina too.
Yeah.
I think, it just depends on how much credit you want to give Shanann. If she's, she worked at a cell phone place. She was a manager of a cell phone store. So
right.
Do we think that Shanann could have easily got online and checked their phone records? Because when you want to talk about somebody hiding something, Chris Watts wasn't hiding, texting her, talking to her on the phone. He didn't use his work phone. He used his personal cell phone to do that.
Right.
So all it really would have taken is to look at the phone records to see.
Yeah.
Then I did the math one day of all the money that would have been spent to take out NK all that time for the 6 weeks. And it was something like $1,500, if not more. So
watching that. Yeah.
she's on top of the money.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to sit here and say he had $1,500 worth of gift cards.
Wait a minute, that was supposed to be for crowbars. Where's the pro bar fund?
I don't know. Then all the alerts going off with the Vivint. So I definitely think that she knew obviously about NK. She gets home, and I don't believe that it went down the way that Chris says in terms of, I definitely think, do you think that she confronted him about it? I think that she was supposed to wait, but that she didn't. I think that she definitely had to confront him on something. You just have to go with what type of person is Shanann? Is she going to be quiet about it? Is she not going to be quiet about it? Yeah. And I think that confrontation happened, and it was about the cheating.
Yeah, you'd have to, I would imagine you'd have to be a person who has a demonstrated history of, significant amount of self-control to not come home and be like, what that, and confront him about it. I don't think I could not say anything. That's, extremely awkward. It'd be really painful for her. And I don't think she had that kind of personality. I agree with that.
Yeah, I also think that people that think that it was planned, then that's a really, the plan doesn't make any sense, because Chris knew that the neighbors had cameras. Mm-hmm. Chris knew that his house has, all the for as much as surveillance as it can be with the Vivint. He knew that he had to go through the basement in order to stay undetected with that. Right. So to think that you're just going to come home, or that you're just going to be able to pull off, committing this triple homicide plus an unborn baby, that just doesn't make any sense to me, that you think that you're going to do that.
No.
So that's why, and also nothing shows with Chris. I think he's a lot like his father. I got to be around his dad a lot in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Very non-confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know, he won't say anything unless it's something that he needs to say.
Sure.
I think if you look at the behaviors leading up to going to Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
is that, I mean, in North Carolina, everything was spiraling once Chris got there, because it wasn't the same, because I believe Chris, obviously he told her things that he wanted to get this divorce or the separation. He wanted to be, you know, to go forward with it. You know, when they got back to Colorado, that they'd be putting the house up for sale, that they couldn't afford the daycare. And you see whether it's the gang unit that wants to start reporting more, but you see more of Shanann messaging all of her friends and staying up all night to the out, like all night texting with people. But then supposedly Chris is on the phone, which he was with NK in the middle of the night, but Shanann doesn't know about that in North Carolina. Like, how's that possible? Where is he doing that at?
Right.
So it's just a matter of what you. I choose to look at things logically. I don't. People want to say Lana's a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm really not.
No.
I just know that logic usually.
Oh.
That are like that have like that aren't rational. Once you start talking about that, then logic can go out the window, because then they're not thinking rationally.
Right.
But when people want to talk about Chris would have had to pay money to get divorced, Chris would have been paying less than he already was. So like that to me is crazy. His mortgage and that, what was it? The daycare alone was like $5,300 a month.
Yeah. I mean, that school was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he if they have joint custody, yeah, because of his job and whatever, like he would have been paying, but giving her child support and whatnot. But you have to ask yourself, is that like in the makeup of Chris? Does Chris even care about money? And the answer is no.
No.
Chris doesn't care about money.
No.
Chris like did something for insurance policy, stuff like that. It's just, you have to ask yourself if that's what Chris was thinking about, and it just wasn't there. It's not his personality.
No, whenever people, brought that up as, that they thought that was the driving reason, that doesn't ring true with me at all. It's like his family was very, of humble means, and he, said that he would prefer to live that way. I don't think he would have any problem with it. And, if they did get divorced and child support became an issue, Shanann would really have screwed herself, because I believe she was grossly over-reporting her income in Thrive, as being income rather than just what she's like, what she's bringing in with the product she's buying. But anyway, I don't think that he would have minded having to pay child support, taking care of his kids. I think he loved his kids.
Yeah, I do. I think that it's obvious because, Shanann's saying it, all you keep mentioning is about the kids. Yeah. So like that's evident. I think that, he just for the first time realized that he wasn't happy. He wants to be not doing what he was doing for those 6 weeks, but able to even take his kids and go do things that were like that. And and then people say, well, do you think that he knew NK for longer than that time period? No, I don't. It's not there.
So I was watching your channel recently, and you said
11-hour live.
What's that? No, not 11-hour live. I looked at that and I was like, oh hell no. Like, when is this, I was like, I'm gonna be a good hostess. I'm gonna brush up on, and I was like, not for 11 hours, I'm not.
I was like, yeah, no, that was fun.
That I'm sure it was. Well, let me ask you. So you had an 11 hours. For those of you that don't know, recently, a few days ago, right? There was an
last
11-hour
week.
live topic NK. And what were the conclusions you came to in those 11 hours, plus all the?
I mean, you can either say everybody lied at some point, or depending on what people are being told. But there's a couple different things I pointed out. Just how would she know what card Chris Watts paid for with that last dinner? I mean, how are you even looking at that? How is that even something that's on your mind? Unless you like said something to him about that, like, hey, if you guys are done, then why don't you pay for it with your regular card if you're not going to get in trouble?
Right. Yeah.
Something like that, where like, but for her to know it was a blue Chase card, especially since he supposedly never used a card like that before. And he was always paying with gift cards.
Yeah.
Why would you think that time would be any different? That she would even, I know a lot of women, when the bill comes around, it's like, I'm gonna use the restroom.
Right.
It's
a good trick.
So it's a good trick.
Yeah.
So just, I mean, he had those gift cards in his wallet. He could have put, them towards the bill and then just paid the difference.
Yeah.
Or
he could, there were, there were records of him calling. I can't remember what the company was, but the gift cards were reloadable, correct? So all he had to do was reload a gift card. I mean, he could have done it.
You'd have to reload the gift card though with something, with an account.
Yeah.
So it was like I said, if you want to talk about, was he hiding this? He really wasn't. He wasn't using a burner phone to talk to Nicole Kessinger. He was using his work phone. The only thing that he was hiding was the nudes or the explicit pictures,
right,
that he would save in that calculator app. But he was not. He was talking to her every single night in North Carolina from that phone for like anywhere between 40 minutes to 89 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was every single night. And then before that, like I said, he was using his phone, obviously texting and for, phone calls. So
yeah, he was.
I think that to say that he was hiding anything, one thing he was hiding was she never really asked him about it until that night.
Yeah.
In North Carolina, she just, I think she was saying like, you're not telling me something. You're not telling me something. And, they weren't having sex.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about the baby. Again, those are all the gang unit, as I refer to them. They just cherry picked through the messages that they wanted to show.
Right.
They left out a ton of messages, a ton of phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I thought was very interesting is that they never wanted to talk about when Nicole was calling or when he was calling Nicole. It was never mentioned in that outline. We just happen to know about it because of the phone records. But
right.
You would think that that's something important to talk about.
Sure.
And you have to ask yourself, why wouldn't they talk? Why wouldn't the gang unit be like, oh, look he's talking to her like every single night while in North Carolina? Like they didn't even mention it. So you have to ask yourself, why? Why didn't they do that? And I believe, and this is like, I usually don't give theories, but I believe they didn't talk about that because they didn't want to allude to the fact that Shanann could have known earlier about Nicole Kessinger.
Okay.
So
why?
Because then you're looking at, is there a possibility that, if she finds out about this, does she put a plan in place to leave Chris, take the kids, or blame him for something, or, you know what I mean? Like, because if they act like she doesn't know about the affair, then there's no planning on her end.
Right. Yeah, I think, I always wondered, did he, because I agree that he didn't take any measures to hide anything. So was it that he, like in a way, I think he was just so wrapped up in NK. It was all this relationship, and anything else was just like out of sight, out of mind, He was like
I also, you know what? I want to take that back. He was hiding because of the way that he started, like with the Vivid. He was like going backwards in the house so that all the alerts would happen in the right order. Because I don't think at that point, which makes sense to me, I'm just having an affair. I'm just like having sex with somebody. I'm not looking at like that I'm going to, leave my wife for this person yet. Like,
right.
So therefore there is reason to hide something. But I believe he made up his mind that their marriage was over before he went to North Carolina, because then he, people could argue the fact that he changed Nicole Kessinger's name to like AVC in his phone. But Chris would be the type of person, like, I just don't want to deal with Shanann, bitching. So
yeah,
I'm going to change this name, or I'm going to put this in my phone that way. I have a question. Why would Celeste's birthday party not be on a day when Chris and Shanann are both in North Carolina to spend that with all the family?
Yeah, that was pretty weird, right? Yeah.
I mean, I would have a problem with it if I was like, if my significant other was having a birthday party and I'm going to be there just a week or two later, why wouldn't we all have a birthday party with all of our family when I'm there?
Yeah. I think it's just Shanann wanted she wanted things the way she wanted it, and it was consideration for her family and her, needs. And I until, I think the very end, when she realized that her marriage was really in trouble, it seemed like she was doing some real, like, authentic soul searching. But I think until that point, it was just like Shanann wants, Shanann gets. Like, that's all there is to it. And I'm sure that would be very hard to be married to.
Yeah. I mean, I think that takes two to tango. You never put your foot down for all those years, and now like you are. So
that's right.
I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with sex. I think it has to do with the only thing that was making Chris like happy was probably his girls. Like he wasn't happy. Like him and Shanann did nothing together. What did they ever do together?
No, you never heard of them going on dates and nothing.
Nothing. And I just don't think that people that want to say like Nicole Kessinger orchestrated this. I'm sorry, that's just, she didn't orchestrate it. I'm sorry. Because if she would have orchestrated it, like I've said before, you would need to have two vehicles. You would have had to switch the bodies on his way to work at some point. Put those bodies in a different vehicle, and that car would have went the completely opposite way, and what have you.
No.
If it was just to get rid of Shanann, you would have maybe taken the trip up to go to Aspen, and then an accident happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just
right. Yeah.
What happened that night coming home, in that short amount of time, with the plane being delayed and everything like that. I'd say even if there was a plan, it would have definitely been ixnayed due to the fact of, like Chris wasn't even asking her like, hey, so you're like, did your plane get delayed? Are you sure you're coming home tonight? I mean, those questions were not even being asked.
No.
Something that I thought was, yeah. Like, what else was weird about that? When Shanann landed, she never texted Chris to say that she landed. But he's sleeping. It's 1:25 in the morning. I mean, do I take Shanann as caring though about Chris's sleep? No. But I think it was unusual. If you go back and look at her patterns, she's always texting Chris when she's landing at airports at like, even if it was like 6 o'clock in the morning or.
Yeah.
So that was weird, I thought.
Yeah, well, if you look at like their last, text messages, up until, the point where she would have eventually said, "Oh, hey, we've landed." I mean, he was just, he was being just completely cold to her, just saying the bare minimum that he had to like get by. He wouldn't say "I love you." He wouldn't return any affection, anything. So, yeah, maybe she just didn't want. She was like, "I just can't handle anymore." I'm being rejected through text. I don't know.
Well, I looked at it like I think that all has to do with there was a plan in place. Hey, just go in, don't talk to him. I mean, Nicole Atkinson talks about it, Cassie talk about it. They say you're gonna go home tonight, don't get into it with him, don't talk about anything. And because I believe that there was a plan in place to either like leave or throw all of his shit out and be like, you're out, whatever.
Yeah.
That's why the lies, I think, had to come into play that next day, because you can't be Nicole Atkinson calling up the police and saying, hey, me and my friend were supposed to leave with the kids today, but my friend's not here.
Right.
And the police are going to be like, well, why maybe she just left without you type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't be as impactful.
So you think that was the urgency why Nicole Atkinson, perhaps why she was, she was like dialed up to like 1 million at like 9 a.m. when Shanann didn't get back to her.
I think it had to do with her state of mind, that Shanann was like, they were saying Cassie was writing it. We've never seen her so emotionally broken. And she was writing things like, she was spiraling out of control. And they knew that. So they didn't know what to think. But I believe that Nicole Atkinson had plans to go over there either early in the morning or she stayed there. And it was to help her with the kids. The kids weren't going to be going to Goddard or to Primrose. Goddard is the competitor. And, it's the car's not there. She's not there. Her phone's there. There's no other reason that her mom would have called Primrose that early in the morning and then called 3 times.
So you think that, so you think that Mom and Nicole Atkinson were worried that, Shanann was just like mentally unstable and all of this weirdness was a result of that instability and oh my God, what's going on?
It seemed like that there was no urgency. Nothing was about the girls. They weren't concerned with the girls. They didn't think that anything happened to the girls. That wasn't even like a thought in their mind. Mm-hmm. Shanann's mom texts and says, is Shanann okay? Not, is Shanann and the girls okay? Like, why wouldn't her mom text Chris and be like, wait, we called Primrose and they're not there.
Yeah.
Well, I know they're not there because she took them on a play date. Okay, Chris, but why would Shanann take them on a play date when it's Bella's first day of school? I mean, first day of kindergarten.
Right. That's like a big day. Yeah.
And you'd be saying that to the police officers.
Yeah.
Nobody was saying that at all to the police officers.
It was Bella's first day of kindergarten. Like, there's no way that Shanann would have had her miss this. Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge day. Huge day.
And then people say, okay, well, that Nicole Kessinger was at the house. So was Nicole Kessinger and NA hanging out together in the house? Because I'm telling you that NA was there. I can prove that.
All right, let's talk about why NA was there. Let's talk. I haven't been able to follow this so far. Take us down the path of why NA was there.
Shanann's phone doesn't register any of those calls in the morning, any of those text messages, nothing.
Okay.
If you say you texted or called your friend, they would be in the line in where you said that you did it when you did it, because her phone was on. Shanann's phone was on.
Right. Okay.
All the other phone calls and what have you, Cassie's went through, Chris's did, but NA's didn't. So do you believe that NA really ever made those messages? And my answer is I don't believe so. She did it after the fact when she knew that Shanann's phone was already off because she turned it off.
Right. Okay. So they all
because they all came in one after another at 2:11 or 2:12 when the phone was turned on, but it was yet still after Chris's text that came at 1:19 from his phone, but didn't get to her phone until 2:11 when the phone was turned on.
And those were the stage checks. So okay, that makes. I mean, that does make sense.
That means the phone was on and somebody had to turn it off. How did it get turned off? And Amanda Thayer saying that she called, which she did, or texted, and that she got a text message back saying that she was, when you're driving and your phone sends you that message.
Right.
So Shanann's phone did that. And at the time that they said that happened, Shanann's phone's sitting on the ledge at their house after the police had already had it. Like, it was after Chris had it, they set it on the ledge and they all go over to Nate's.
Okay.
So at 2:57, when they're claiming that happened, Shanann's phone's sitting on a ledge. It wasn't moving.
So why would Amanda? I guess I'm not picking this up. Why?
No,
would
Amanda didn't do anything. The police fudged all that. They changed it from a 2:57 call or text to 12:57. So
okay, all right, I remember this. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, and at 12:57, NA's in the vehicle driving to doing that staged drive to the doctors.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. That makes some good sense then.
And then the same thing is her mom never called Shanann's phone or never texted Shanann. So if you're looking for Shanann, and that's your daughter, wouldn't you call or text her?
Yeah.
She didn't make one text or call. But yet she calls Primrose at 8:35, 8:40.
Yeah, that's been something that I've always been stuck on. Like, why is that? That makes no sense. So she's calling Primrose. It's Bella's first day of kindergarten, really big day. She knows Shanann's in a way. She knows that Shanann's probably still excited about Bella's first day in kindergarten. Why didn't she? That really makes no sense. So why do you think that is?
Because she knew that Shanann didn't have her phone because Nicole Atkinson had it, and she told her that.
Okay.
I don't believe that the latch was
down. It makes so much sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, wouldn't she call your kid? I know I would blow my kid up if everyone was telling me they couldn't get a hold of him. I'd be calling his phone, but the reason I wouldn't is if they told me that they had his phone.
Right.
If they're like, we have Jax's phone here, like, he doesn't have it, I have it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also at the time, I
just gotta grab a pen.
If you look, nobody contacts Chris to ask him anything about, like, where, how do I want to say this? They lied. They lied and said that Chris talked to Addie in the morning or in the middle of the night or something like that.
Okay.
Never happened. So nobody would have known that Shanann was taking the kids on a play date until 10:28 a.m. When Shanann's mom and him finally talked. So that's why they called the school.
So if no one else is implicated in this crime, if we're going with, it played out how, because Shanann confronted him and, it was just, and no one else was involved, why all of these detailed lies that ostensibly law enforcement inserted into the narrative? Why?
You want my educated guess?
Yeah.
My educated guess is that when they had Shanann's phone on Monday, before they had anybody else's phone, they had her phone. And they lied. First of all, Baumhover lied to Jillian Gantley from the CBI and didn't tell her that he had her device. So they had her device from let's just go ahead and say 4:00 p.m. on Monday.
Okay.
From 4, until Chris would have came in that night, Tuesday night or evening. But I mean, do you want to know what was in Shanann's phone? You know how much stuff would have been in that phone?
Yeah.
Anybody, like, let's take a look at her history, like her Google history. Let's take a look at this. Like, they would have, Chris gave them consent to do whatever with that phone. So they would have downloaded it. They would have been able to see all the contents in that phone.
Sure.
And this is, remember, this is just at the time, you got a missing mom and her 2 daughters, and she's pregnant, right? And it's just like, they would have ran a background check on Chris. He has no priors. Nothing's weird. I mean, he works at Anadarko, but then you have to look at, so I took out the call log and all the phone calls that were being made to the police department on Monday evening and on Tuesday. And all her friends from Thrive and her mom, they're all calling the police department.
Yeah.
And, saying this, that, and the other. My question is why didn't any of these friends just blatantly say, or even like NA saying to Chris when she would have saw him on that Monday, like, yo, bro, we found out that you were cheating on, on Saturday night. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. We looked it up, yada, yada, yada. We checked the phone records, all these things. And because Cassie puts it in her report that Shanann's fear was clear. Chris was cheating. They found it out on Saturday. It's in Cassie's interview.
Yeah.
So why isn't NA pounding that into Chris when she does see him, like, oh, it's not a coincidence that we find out that you're cheating this past weekend and now Shanann's missing? Like, why wouldn't that been said?
Yeah, and why wouldn't that be said? Why? I mean,
wouldn't you say that to your
Kelly, I would take the first opportunity to say that to like my best friend's husband if that was the case,
Yes, Frederick Police Department still has his phone. They wouldn't give us his phone. By the way, that's a question in chat.
Yeah.
So,
no.
When you asked me why I think all of this happened, is that the CBI and the FBI had no reason to fudge anything. They were just going to do what they do. What they started realizing is that something was off. And I think it was going to be something that was off was we're going to have a hell of a time convicting this man of everything that we want to throw at him. We're going to throw the book at him. But remember, his story is when he told his dad, his story is that Shanann killed the kids and then he killed her.
Right.
Okay. And that he panicked. He didn't know what to do. And that he took them, to the site. Okay. Well, I believe that whatever they had access to and whatever they were looking at, that version of events was very plausible to them.
Okay.
Or at least something to that point of that he didn't just make this up type of thing, or like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
right.
We need to get him. We can't have this go to trial. We can't have this go to trial.
Okay.
That's like, because
possible bad exposure.
It wasn't just that they changed. How do I want to say this? They didn't just redact stuff. They flat out changed the narrative. They put calls in different orders. They put making it seem like Chris's cell phone is making phone calls when it's Chris's personal phone. That's stuff that you would have to do manually, because when you extract data and you then do a logic logical extraction, you're picking and choosing what you deem as important and then putting that on your timeline.
Right.
So I looked at this and I was like, Shanann has 35,000 timeline transactions and you've only reported in your 50-page report 100 of them.
Mm-hmm.
What was she doing with her phone for the other 34,000? You know, you don't think it would be important to know what she was Googling and doing on her phone on Saturday and Sunday?
Right.
Yeah, it would be, you know. Why, how are you messing this up? What phone he used? Oh, wait, because his personal cell phone doesn't show him climbing any stairs, which
Right.
means who put the girls in the tanks?
All right. So, I mean, okay. So
that's where, like, when you want to talk about if somebody else is involved,
Mm-hmm.
from the evidence that I have in front of me, and this is
Sure.
not the whole discovery, obviously,
Sure.
there is, without a doubt, somebody other than Chris could have put those girls in those tanks because his phone data does not reflect him climbing any stairs, and his phone was on him in his pocket while he was at work that morning.
Okay, so here is where I start to have a problem with this. So, all right, so I did a lot of looking into the personal phone and the cell phone and item 40, number 41, and I did notice. I don't know about them intentionally switching things around, but I did notice that here. This is not what we're looking at now, so just not to confuse people. Let me stop that. Okay. I did. Okay. So I did notice that there were places in the discovery where it appeared that they just flip-flopped, 40 and 41, labeling it as the work phone versus the personal phone. It was labeled incorrectly, just almost like slop work,
But see, let me explain something about that's not sloppy.
Okay.
You would have had to type that in
Right.
like that. And if you go through that whole 50 pages,
Okay.
they don't mess up those phones not one time other than on the night of the morning of the murders.
Right. Okay. All right. Oh, so, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they don't make any mistakes with the phones until the morning of the murders, and it's during the time frame of him between the time that he leaves his home and is supposedly disposing of the bodies and stuff like that.
All right. All right. So here's the thing about.
Okay, so somebody just put up a great question here, and it's important to answer it. What if he left his phone in a car? That's what they try to make it seem like he did. They try to do that, and they try to make it seem like he only had his work phone on him, and that his personal cell phone was left in his truck, and that he would go back and forth and use. The only time he would use his work or his personal phone was when he was at his truck. Well, I can prove that that's not accurate because of Melissa Parrish's, his employee, her statements.
All right, so go ahead, and I would love to hear that because okay, go ahead.
And so this would have been on. Let's see.
Everyone should go get some coffee.
Well, I was just gonna. So Melissa Parrish, when she was interviewed, when they pull up in the trucks, Chris is actually on his phone.
Right.
And so she marks the time, and then they do the GPS, and it says like that 8:23 time, like time spot, whatever. And if you go and you look at the phone records, that 8:23. He's, on the phone in the field. And that's when he was doing all the stuff with Primrose. And it's in evidence. I mean, it's in the phone records.
Right.
So he clearly wasn't at his truck making that phone call. He was in the field, away from his truck. And And that's what she says in her statement, that he
Okay.
was using the phone. And
Okay.
that's why they were trying to make it seem like he called Primrose from his work phone because of Melissa Parrish's statement saying that he was using to give, like,
But he did. It
That's how-
says in Discovery he made that call from his personal phone.
nope. In Discovery, it says he made it from his work phone.
Okay.
I proved that that's not true, and that the timelines and then his personal cell phone records show that that's not true,
Okay.
and that he made that call from his cell phone.
Okay. Because okay. So in Discovery, let's just see if we agree on this or if I have it right.
Okay.
The activities on that morning, between when he ostensibly arrived at Cervi 319 and until he got the NA call and he started heading home, there were three. Okay, that's right. Okay, so there were three things he did on his personal phone, and that was to take the picture of the release at 718. He took. Oh no, I'm sorry. Took the picture of his laptop that while he was probably sitting in his car, the Cervi coordinates. But they
And so that's them just saying that, just for the record, like that's their observation just because of whatever. So basically I have it narrowed down. Oopsies. I have it narrowed down that there's only so much time that Chris could have done this, because otherwise he was like on his phone. So
I'm back. Okay. So he did the okay. So according to what it says in Discovery, he took the picture of the laptop at 718 from his personal phone. He looked up the lyrics, the Metallica song from his personal phone at 10 something or other. And then he took the picture of the sunflowers or whatever from his personal phone. And according to Discovery, correct, that's the only activity he has on his personal phone during those hours, I believe.
yeah, which is not true.
Okay.
And you could tell that by the timeline transactions,
Mm-hmm.
like the numbers, because
Yeah.
they reflect they're in the 6,500 range.
Yeah.
And that's from his work phone, and then the 7,700 range, that's obviously his personal cell phone. So
Right.
when they attempted to do this to make it seem like the one phone was being used versus the other, the first thing I thought about when this happened is I said, why?
Right.
Why are they doing this?
Right.
Like, you have to physically change that. Like, it's going to come, like, how do you mess that up? Not just once, but multiple times on the day of the murder at very important times.
Yeah. I mean,
And it's because they were taking his phone basically out of his hands if he wasn't in his truck, because they wanted to put the phone in there to make it seem like that's why it wouldn't have recorded any steps going up and down to dispose of bodies, because he didn't have his personal phone on him. But that's not true. He did have his personal phone on him.
And you're saying so because of the Melissa Parrish statement?
Well, because of that, and just the stuff that he was doing. I mean, you think that, so he has his phone on him. It'd be his statement versus anybody. Did you have your phone on you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, well, all right. So let me just get this out before I forget, because, when I was looking into all of these various things, the argument, that he, okay, his phone didn't log any flights and didn't log any steps flights. So, therefore he couldn't have, gone up to the top of the tank. See, I don't think that's true at all. Oops. There's been, there have been several experts that have talked about, just the hazard material, the danger of those sites. And, I know there's a specific report that, says, for example, you can't use, when they were looking into the opening into the thief hatch at the top, you can't use like a cell phone flashlight or even a regular flashlight because it could ignite. So why, if he's working in the oil fields and he's familiar with being on the property of these batteries with all of these hazards, because I don't think he was ever interested in killing himself. Why would he bring his cell phone with him to the top of the battery where there's all these noxious, hazardous fumes where he could just, spontaneously ignite and combust?
I don't know where that's coming from. I've never heard that.
Okay. I will have to, I'll find it. That is 100%. I will find it so we can look at it. That is 100% something that was discussed when they were, when they were trying to determine how to go about the recovery process, the recovery of the bodies from that situation. Yeah.
My best thing to say is like anything to do with that, that's going to be expert to have any. I mean, I have no idea about anything like that. But where I can only speak on is the logical extractions and everything out of the 2,500 pages. And you have too much, you have too many clashes, and the narrative isn't the narrative. This narrative is what they want you to believe it is, after they knew that Chris Watts was taking a plea deal.
Sure. And that might be the case, but I'm going to stick to this point with the expert, and it's in discovery, and I'm going to have to a very bad multitasker, flip through and find it. Maybe
that would have been when they were taking the bodies out.
Yeah.
I think as far as that's going to go, they're going to take all the precautions possible. But I mean, do I think that Chris Watts was concerned about that when putting bodies in, or whoever did it? Absolutely not.
Well, okay. Well, there's more though. There's more. So then, there have been other experts who have worked for Anadarko, worked on the oil field. One recently was on one of our favorite channels, Seeking the Truth with Dave, and she thinks, never mind. Anyway, but she had shown her credentials, talked about her credentials. It appeared that she was legitimate, and talked about, not to any end, not to the point like that I'm making right now, but just when she was talking about the protocol and procedures and the safety precautions they have to take in that situation. She, talked about you would not take something like a cell phone up to the top of the oil tanks with you because there is such a high risk of it igniting.
Yeah, I mean, we're not supposed to have our cell phones by when we pump gas. I mean,
I know. I think that's different though than being at the top of a crude oil tank of that size with a,
why?
I mean,
if it's saying not to do something because this is a possibility, it's a possibility. I'm just saying, when you want to talk about, we're talking about a guy, by all accounts, he's saying that he did this, that he's saying that he's saying he put the children in oil tanks. Mm-hmm. Well, we know for a fact that he didn't have any protective gear.
Right. Well, I'm not saying you have to go so far as to wear
on
protective gear, but
we know for a fact he had cell phones on him. He was, he had to keep checking to make sure, because he was so nervous, according, by all accounts. I mean, he's texting to see, hey, Cody, which one are you going to? Are we meeting out at this one? You're not going to, it was constant. and he was getting right back to people. I mean, it's
Well, okay, so yes, and he was. So I just want to like narrow down specifically like the instance that I'm talking about is with the argument that he couldn't have disposed of the bodies at the top of the tanks because his phone didn't have any flights on it. In that one instance, during that time when that would be happening, I don't believe he would have had his phone on him during that. Let's say it's 20 minutes or whatever. I'm not talking about any other time in the rest of the morning. He wouldn't have had his phone on him then because he knows as a matter of protocol for, safety procedures that he's been following that have probably been, burned into his mind since he's been working in oil fields, that you don't do that. So in my opinion, because of that, I really discounted the the argument that he didn't dispose of the bodies because he doesn't have any flights on his phone.
No. I'm saying that there's multiple reasons why that I believe that they had to switch this up. It's because the phone was not, he was using the phone at different times,
Right.
and they switched what phone was being used. And you have to ask yourself why they did that.
Right.
What was the point of it?
Right.
That's why I kept asking myself. I said, why do they need to change what phone he's using?
So what
But they did for a reason. They did for a reason. If you don't think they did that for a reason, I mean, why
I think they did it for a reason. I don't know what do you think the reason is? Do you have a theory? Tell us a theory.
Yeah, they had to switch the phones, what phones he used, but he didn't really like. They switched what phones because they didn't want to make it seem like he had that phone on him and in his pocket. These phones were in his pockets, okay? And so if you make it seem like he had his work phone on him and not his other phone, and that phone was just in the van or in the truck, that's why you're doing it, because you're going to make it you're going to be able to say the reason his phone didn't register anything is because he didn't have it on him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they want us all to believe. But until because you have to ask yourself, okay, why? What other reason would there be to just, who cares? Say that he made the phone call from his personal phone. Why can't we, what's the problem?
Right. So,
and I'm saying, I believe that there was a problem. And the problem was when you actually really break it down, you look at it and you look at what phone calls they were strategically doing that with.
mm-hmm.
I mean, why didn't they say that his phone calls with, NA later on, like they had to pick stuff like Googling of Primrose to get the number because he didn't have it.
Right.
Why aren't they saying that he was Googling the battery, the lyrics from the phone, from his work phone? Because that was all later on in the day.
Right.
The stuff that was at 7:18, 7:40, 7:40, 7:41, 7:43. Yeah, the 7:18
laptop
through
pictures.
7:43. In that time frame, if on the math that I did,
mm-hmm.
there's 2 time frames where Chris had 19 minutes
Okay.
of uninterrupted time. So that means 19 minutes to between, if you go and you look at 6:59 to 7:40 from that time frame.
Okay. I'm with you.
There's a 19-minute time frame where he's not using either phone for a straight period of time through.
Right.
And so otherwise, if you look at and you back it up and you look at everything before all that, he arrives on property at 6:50, like 6:57, 6:50.
Okay.
So just for easy math sakes, 7 o'clock,
Okay.
to 7:40.
Okay.
But he's touching his phone and doing different things with his phones, both of them at different points in times where he's actually physically like, texting. So how long did it take him to dig that grave for Shanann?
Right.
Okay. How long does it take you to dispose of the bodies into the oil tanks?
Mm-hmm.
And basically I'm giving you a window when you take the 2 phones and you put it all out. And I did it on one of my lives, and he literally has of uninterrupted time, 19 minutes the one time.
Right.
And then it's like 17.
That sounds right. So then do you feel that is in fact enough time for him to do what was necessary to, for them to later find his family left where they were?
I've never done the reenactment. I don't know how long it takes to open up one of those things. I've never done dug a grave to see how long it takes to dig that.
No way. Yeah.
I will tell you that the shovel that was supposedly used is not in evidence. It's missing. And what I can tell you is that shovel that was used that day, it was written in a police report that it was seen in the back of a truck. But then when they went to take his truck and label all the contents that were in there, that shovel wasn't there. And that truck never left his house from the moment that his truck got back. Unless somebody else drove along and picked it up. But
yeah.
I don't think it was I don't think that he dug the grave on Friday. That would mean that I thought that it was premeditated.
Right.
And I keep going back to,
well, if he dug the grave on Friday, he would have done a better job, hopefully. I mean, it was.
Yeah, but I guess we're not understanding this. How do you think you have a GPS truck and
Right. Yeah. Right.
you go straight to there's only so many places that you went with that truck.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense for you don't to think that it's only a matter of time until they find, even if you don't find, let's say the girls, you're going to find Shanann's body in a shallow grave.
Sure.
Who else put it there? Unless it was what people are going to say, oh, to frame Chris. No.
I never got what I don't understand what the point of framing this man was. He was like a shell of a person.
I just, what's Chris's motive to truly kill his family?
I think his only I have an answer for that. The only motive I can think of, which is a terrible motive, is that to me, he seems like the type of personality, we look at, how he went from being a mama's boy. He met Shanann, they got married. He just ditched his mom, just you basically wrote her off. He just went from, I think that he has a very, he has a shell of a personality. He's the kind of personality that is kind of a parasite, and they look to someone else that they attach to fill them up with a personality, with with beliefs, with things that they say, with things that they do. And I think he was that kind of person. So he was feeling a disconnect with Shanann. I think he was unhappy.
But what's motive to just not get a divorce? What's motive to kill her and the children? Okay, so I think that starting in the middle of July, I don't know, but I don't think that NK said,
hey, listen, this family thing, we got to do something about this. All of them except for the dog have got to go. I don't think it was like that, like blatant, but I do think, I do believe that she, and maybe she wasn't intending to make him feel like he needed to get rid of his family. Maybe it is the way that he received it, because I also think that he is a very literal processor, like cognitively. And I think that either she intended to give this message or he took it this way. If we want
So
to
his motive, though, his motive to kill. So is his motive money? Is his motive
no,
he thinks he's going to live happily ever after with NK? Is
yeah.
his motive? I mean, what's your? I don't believe.
I mean, I don't have a theory I'm like attached to. This is just my sense of, after looking at all of this, and I don't think there's a big conspiracy theory. I don't think that
I mean, not that the state has to ever prove motive in a case, but normally somebody kills somebody because there's a reason.
Absolutely. So I think that
now, was it crime of passion? Was it crime of passion? And like, I mean, so let me ask you this. Shanann has said a lot of awful things to Chris during the course of, their marriage, especially like
absolutely
just that week. What would make him because like he's the type like to not engage in that, I'm just gonna leave the house, I'm gonna get my work truck and just leave, I'm not gonna talk to you about all this crap that you want to talk about.
Right.
When she would start, let's say, like grilling him about something. I know you're cheating, I found out you're cheating, you're doing this. What would to me, I just asked myself what would make a guy who is so like awkward emotionally and socially, and he's already like, hey, she found out about this, she she's saying it's over now too, okay, great, like, but what would have been a point to, okay, you're gonna like attack her and take her down and choke her and kill her, and then do the same thing with the children?
Yeah, I think I don't know how the children fit into it. I don't think that it was intended for them to be killed. I do think it started, I think it started on the weekend of July 14th when NK went over to his house and Dieter drug her upstairs, and she saw a picture of Shanann and the girls, and she kind of went and poked around the house, and he reports that she reports that she was upset and she left. He reports that she came down and she was just frozen on the stairs, and she was like, you have such a beautiful life, why are you with me? And then kind of bugged out a little bit, and then she did this thing where she like a teenager would, she didn't know how to handle herself, so she went out and sat in her car and just texted him, and they called for like an hour, and then she came back in, and like they just laid on the couch, and he was talking about how he was able to talk her off the ledge, and he just held her, and he felt like that was fulfilling to him, to be able to do that for a woman, or to a woman, or with a woman, because I don't think he ever really had that before. And that was when she started playing the mind games with him about the eHarmony, and that she had dates set up and she didn't go on them. And it was that very evening when she told him that she wanted to give him his first son. Well, problem, his wife is pregnant with his first son. And I believe if there's anything else to it, then it was just a straight up sloppy crime of passion. I think that is the root of it, and I think that's where we need to look.
Okay, so do you think it's weird that on Sunday morning at 7:32 a.m., the first message that Shanann wakes up and she texts Chris, "Good morning, baby, love you." This would have been after she found out on Saturday night, and she told all her friends, like they found out for sure. It was clear with her fear that Chris was cheating on her.
Right.
And so she wakes up in the morning and she says, "Good morning, baby, love you," smiley face.
Yeah. So what you're saying, that's weird? Well, yeah.
I'm saying no. I'm saying that she knows something, but she's acting like she doesn't know anything.
Right.
But would you text somebody, "Good morning, baby, love you," if you just found out that your man has been literally having sex with somebody else and you're pregnant and you have 2 little kids and
Would I do that? No. Would Shanann do that if she was as desperate as everyone described her as being at that point, and as desperate as we can see she was from her own words and communication and text messages? And I think at that point, right around that time, she realized, I've got to do something. I've got to step up or I am going to lose my marriage. And I think about it. She's 15 weeks pregnant. When you're pregnant, those hormones, you're not thinking straight. She has 2 little kids. She has this life that she really loves and thinks is wonderful because it's everything she wanted it to be. Chris might not feel the same way, but she doesn't want to lose any of that. So I think she was just scared straight. She was like, man, I got to turn this around right now or I'm going to lose my husband. I'm pregnant. I'm going to have 3 kids. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose, the picture perfect image that I've been working so hard to portray to everyone. And that was the end of the effing world to that woman. So would she send that text after finding that terrible news out? Yeah, hell yeah, I think she would have if she thought that might be the angle she needed to take to save her marriage and the life that she had. IMO.
Would you consider that playing games if you already know something?
I mean, yes, it could be, yes, but I think it could be playing games, and I think she definitely did play games with them. But my sense, and it's just my feeling about this. I have nothing else to go on other than what we can see where her communications and how people characterize her. That she, in those last few days, she really was like, she had an aha moment. She was like, shit, man, like. He's been slipping away slowly. I didn't see it until just now. And now he's far gone. I never thought he would have an affair. I never thought she said he didn't have the game. I didn't think he had it in him. Oh my God. I think she was just like scared straight. I really do.
Okay. So
I don't know if it explains anything, but that's been
so for me, I believe that, when he was in, Colorado without her and she was in North Carolina. If you actually look, when you're looking at the discovery, Shanann continued to make unanswered calls to Watts. This was on July 14th. Also on this day she made 4 more unanswered calls. And if you actually look, July 14th.
Right.
So
yeah.
something that I always took a look at was I always looked for what time she would call and if Nicole Kessinger had anything around it going on and whatnot. And on July 14th, he's on the phone with Kessinger at 4:02 p.m. for 43 minutes. If you do the math and you add that all up, as soon as you hang up your phone, I said that me and you are on the same phone plan. As soon as you end your phone call, I could look on our bill, see what and I would be able to tell immediately that you were on the phone and who you were on the phone with once the call's ended,
Sure.
not during the call, but it has to end.
Right.
And so I was just looking through when I did all my stuff. I wanted to know, when do I think Shanann found out about this affair and whatnot, or, you know, that stuff wasn't right. And I believe that Shanann's the type of person that wouldn't want her friends to know about anything like this because she doesn't want to look bad. She doesn't want to let people think that there's something wrong with her marriage. So, you know, she never mentioned it or whatever until right there, you know, at the end. And it was only because they were all in Arizona with her and like made her do that. They here, look this up, find this, do this. They were all in like sleuth mode.
Yeah.
So then she couldn't hide that anymore, that they found out, you know, they found Chris was cheating.
And she had the support and, you know, probably felt safer for her to do that in that environment than like by herself, you know. Maybe. It doesn't really matter.
Well, how do you plan on paying your mortgage and paying Primrose for $5,300 if there's only $1,800 in your account? How does that happen?
Yeah. She was not realistic with money at all.
And then something else that I thought was interesting is that she used her mom's phone, or maybe it wasn't her, but it was Sandy's phone that called Chris's phone on Sunday, July 22nd. Watts called Shanann and held a 12-minute conversation. Or I'm sorry, not that one. Hold on. Right here. It was July 24th, Tuesday. Between 4:06 p.m. and 4:45 p.m. Sandy Ruzeck's phone number called Watts 12 different times, connecting on occasion, and held roughly 30 minutes of conversation.
Right.
12. I mean, the only way that makes any sense to me is that if your call kept on like dropping.
Right.
Okay. But why it's not like he has the children. The only time like he would use like to call Sandy and them is if like he was FaceTiming with the girls. Okay.
Sure.
But why is Sandy calling and talking to Chris on July 24th from that phone 12 different times between that 40-minute period?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you don't know what that tells
he had
me.
Something to say. Yeah.
And this is the crazier part, is that from 3:49 p.m. to 3:59 p.m., so just 7 minutes before 4:06 would start that crazy 12 different calls in a 45-minute or 40-minute period. He talked to Shanann on the phone for 10 minutes. So he talks to Shanann from 3:49 p.m. to 3:59 p.m. on that Tuesday, which would have been like right after work, you know? And then all of a sudden, right after that phone call, Sandy and him are, I don't know what's going on, but they talk for a total time of 30 minutes, but it was 12 different calls. Was it someone hanging up on somebody? I mean, and again, this is, you know, like I said, this is July 24th.
Yeah, I mean, she clearly had something to say at that point. And I mean, do you think that, you know, Shanann had an idea?
I don't know if I mean, is Shanann at home? Something's going on, and then you know, I don't know why they would be conversing. You know that. I mean, I think I have a pretty good idea. If my mother-in-law is calling me, it's either because we're setting up a surprise party for my significant other, or something's wrong. I mean, what? I
Right.
mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't.
What do you think about the idea of, that July 14th, being like a critical day where, let's see, how long is this? I have a little, I don't know if I'm gonna, how long is this going to be?
I think that's the day that I think that NK found out that that they talked about the pregnancy.
Yeah, because Shanann posted the little baby clothes that day. And well, a lot happened on that day. Like, here, let me share something with you really quick, because I just think I feel so strongly about this. I have for a long time, and I just, no matter what I end up thinking or what theories I indulge, this is where I come back to. So I'm just going to share this really quick because I want to see what you guys think. Okay. Sure. Okay. All right. So this is it's a video I made. It's July 14th. What's it called? What I call it? July 14th. The mistress opens the gates to no return. So I'm just going to play a little part of it. I'm going to fast forward kind of through some of it because I don't want to bore you with it, but I just want to hit the critical part so I don't have to go look them all up again because I've already done the work.
To fix things with his wife.
Okay, so this is the 7-page letter to law enforcement. This is on July 14th. She bullets all these points here.
For him to fix things with his wife. I've noticed that as I've listened to all these interviews and her letter, there's just some choice wording that she weaves throughout. It's just the wording is repeated to me. It's almost rehearsed, repeated, and repeated again. She says, I told him that I did not think it was fair to SW or to me that he was trying to live two lives by being in a relationship with both of us at the same time.
So this is all July 14th.
I think he either needed to fix things with her or let me go, or he needed to move towards trying to finalize.
So right there's an ultimatum, basically.
I told him that I thought his problems with SW were fixable and that he should focus on trying to rekindle the relationship that they had before giving up. He said that SW was set on separating and that so was he. He said that SW wants something, she gets her way. I told him that I did not understand why he hadn't completed the divorce after all these months, if they were so adamant about it. If she wanted it as bad as he stated, I did not understand why it seemed so stagnant. At this moment, I realized that he might be lying to me about his separation. So I started quizzing him on things that he had told me earlier. Okay, so she remembers this much later while she is writing this letter to law enforcement, and she includes these very specific details. But she did not remember any of this. The part about him possibly lying and what we're about to learn, she quizzed him on when she was interviewed by law enforcement. It's just all so weird. It's like she builds her story as she's going along.
Okay, so anyway.
He asked if he was lying about the separation, and CW said no.
No, and that's about the thing with the condoms and blah 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 blah. So she was getting really like jealous and possessive at this point.
His daughters and his unborn through his interview with Tammy Lee, Dave Baumhover, and Agent Coder when they go to visit him in prison, and he does reveal a little more of what he says happened, to his wife, his daughters, and his unborn son. And he also does reveal more about what he was thinking and more details about
So specifically, okay, here.
the ledge kind of deal.
So this is
Okay,
also what
when,
he was saying about NK in regards to their interaction on July 14th.
It's proven in another way. So, you know, we've got to take it for what it's worth, basically. So he does say, he says earlier in the interview that he had to talk her down sometime. And just like with many of the other things that the investigator should have latched onto and asked more about, he just kind of moves on from that. He later does say to Tammy Lee, this quote here, she, talking about Kessinger, had her moments where I had to like talk her off a ledge kind of deal. Okay, when Tammy Lee asks him to talk a little more about that, he immediately goes into, now this is interesting, there were some kind of videos of Kessinger recording herself because she was bipolar. He goes on to say that his father is an attorney.
So, and blah, 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 blah.
Playing second fiddle, and that it was her grandest hope that she could someday give him a first son.
That's all on July 14th.
Now we can corroborate.
Also on July 14th is when everything you just
Take
said.
note.
The
Discovery then goes on to say at 10:56 to 11:38
conversations
hours, Watts took photographs.
he had with NK, but that he didn't have with Shanann. They went to the Shelby Museum that day.
So at 13:25 or 1.
Yep. Everything you just said.
A 10-minute conversation.
Dioptase.
Ostensibly,
This is a whole different thing I don't even want to go into. But then also, it was on July 14th that Shanann made this post on Facebook. And I mean, we all know NK was stalking her Facebook.
Her searching the Watts family, its members, and things about the Watts family. And Shanann Watts posted her first picture of her first little outfit that she had purchased for the anticipated baby Watts. This is a post that appeared on Facebook.
Okay, so you get the
that
point.
Same very eventful day, July 14th.
So yeah, so that's it. That's just, I just think July 14th was a really big day for all of those reasons. So going back to the question, what was his motive? I think it was not so much like, a motive as it was all of this that had been building up, that she had been putting in his mind, that he had been really like valuing and listening to. And it just became part of his story, part of his like mental talk to himself. And I think he was susceptible to that kind of influence. What do you guys think in chat? Anything? Oops, I gotta catch down chat.
Well, on July 14th, Watts logged into Facebook at 10:19 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, Kessinger called Watts and held nearly a 5-minute conversation. So go back to that. What time was that posted at? Does it have a time on there? A timestamp?
Let's see here.
I'm just curious to see if there's a
I think it
timestamp.
does. Let me look though. I can't. Where'd it go? No. Let's see. It just says the like headings on it. I think it just says July 14th, 2018. Yeah. Oops. And he had been logging on to Facebook, though that grouping of days right around this time, which was a little abnormal. Then he stopped. Well, then he closed his accounts, right? And then also, I think it was not July 14th, but I think it was maybe the next day. I'm not sure. It's in Discovery. I don't have this memorized, but it was right around here when he first started moving the photos into the speaker calculator app. So, there was like definitely a lot going on. And as far as Kessinger Watts relationship, there was like a different dynamic, different depth. It seemed a little more like, I don't know, like so much is at stake. You know, I mean, she really did give him an ultimatum. She just said so, you know.
I don't see it as an ultimatum.
Ultimatum might be too like.
So let me ask this then. You can't have it both ways. So if Chris is realizing this freaking broad's nuts, then why would he kill his whole family and think that he's gonna be with Nicole Kessinger? If it's like,
I don't think he was realizing she was nuts. I think he was thinking, well, this is what she says in her 7-page.
She wrote that letter. You have to understand. She wrote that 7-page letter. Like, she had already talked to a PR firm.
Right. It was a cover.
This is all about saving face, which is a PR firm's going to tell you, you're going to act like you don't know about the child, the baby. They're going to, they're going to tell you this, that, and the other. And I looked at more of what Kessinger said in the days right at, the 15th, 16th, 17th, 21st, like those interviews is what I looked at.
Yeah.
And I want to compare it when all of a sudden Shanann started making comments about the Vivint. And the only way that you would know that the Vivint is not working is if you were stalking the app. How would I know if the Vivint it's alerting? Like, if I don't have push notifications on my phone, how do I know that? I would have to go on my app and like search and be like, okay, it shows you this time this door opened, this time this door, this happened. If you're so busy working and taking care of the children and visiting with friends and, and doing all these Thrive kickoff blast parties,
Woo!
How do you know what's going on?
Well, obviously, because
that would be the last thing on my mind.
Well, it wasn't the last thing on her mind. Let me tell you that. She thought something was up and she was gonna,
But why would she think something is up on? Let me show you.
Or maybe it's more that I think, Shanann was
she stalked his every movement. She's a control person. Right here, July 6th.
Okay.
Shanann told Watts to call Vivint before I flip. Watts advised they are sending a sensor for the garage door. I tried moving it like they said, and it didn't work. Well, I said, where is the phone call that he made to Vivint supposedly to talk to them, okay?
Right.
Because he doesn't think that she's stalking the phone records. Like, she mentions, hey, this shouldn't be opening it shouldn't be opening in this order. Like, why is the garage door opening and you're not even, like, you're supposed to be in the house.
Right.
The other door would open first, and then that door would open. So he just tells her what she wants to hear, okay? But as you can see, as it goes further on, he's actually having to call Vivint and actually make it seem like he's having a phone conversation with them. Why? Because she's looking at the phone records. Because she was saying, Chris, you haven't even called them yet. I just checked it. Like, what are you doing?
Wow.
So if that's the case,
that's like, yeah, she's just.
Well, so if that's the case, if she's looking, that means I believe that she was looking at the phone records because he had to make those actual calls to Vivint so that they would show up on the call log.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like, so if she's looking at so then that tells me, all right, when do I believe Shanann knew about Nicole Kessinger?
Yeah.
And I believe that she knew about Nicole Kessinger a hell of a lot earlier than Arizona.
Yeah. or I always thought she at least had a, one of those suspicions, gut feelings, or logic is just telling me, but I'm choosing to ignore it because she didn't want to admit it to herself. I always thought of it as being a situation like that, but who knows? But I think
if she's looking at the app for Vivint to see what times different things are happening, you don't think she's going to look at the phone? Like, she can't get a hold of her man. She's saying she's calling him. He doesn't call back for, calls him 4 times, then calls him another 6 times. You're a manager of a cell phone place. You know what to do. And that's like, go online, look at your call log online, and it's a done deal. Like, here, he was talking to this person. Now you would ask, what number is this, or whatever.
But isn't it true that they did talk though. I mean, Kessinger and Watts, I mean, their primary form of communication was through text messaging, but they did have phone conversations because it's in the logs. So yeah.
I mean, I don't.
You can just yes. Mama Jane D, you can clear that up if you want to. Oh my gosh.
What is it?
Huh?
How would Shanann Watts know of NK before Arizona? Because I have proof, and it's in the discovery, that she's literally stalking the Vivint app.
Mm-hmm.
Because she wants to see when her man's coming in the door and leaving out the door. What she realized when she started doing that was that if you're supposed to be at home sleeping in your bed, and then you have to get up, and then you actually have to open up the garage door before you can hit the garage door button to have the garage go up, it has to go in that order if you're inside the house. What Shanann realized is that how is the garage door to the outside, the big one, opening before the door inside would open to then hit that button?
Oh.
It's because Chris Watts was sleeping at NK's, and when he would come home in the morning to let Dieter out and take a shower, at the beginning he wasn't thinking that he had to. He just would open up the garage door and go, and go in like that. Well, she realized, wait, why is this garage door opening?
Mm-hmm.
The alert didn't go off inside the house that said you even opened up the garage door to press that button. You're supposed to be at home sleeping. You wake up to, let the dog out or whatever. So it's in the reverse order. That's crazy. That was her beef. And what Chris said is that, no, these sensors are all off. I don't know why that's going off. Like, the garage door's not open. He lied.
So,
and acted like the garage door was opening when it really wasn't, but it really was, but he was just lying to her. Okay. And then he's like, okay, I'll call Vivint and I'll get it straightened out. Cause that's what she said. Call them before I flip. And,
weird.
So then he realized, okay, I have to go out the basement window, come in the basement window before I can do anything, because I'm supposed to be inside this house. I'm supposed to have slept here last night. So I have to do everything from the inside first. How do I do that? The basement sliding door windows didn't have any sensors on them. So he was going and coming via the basement window.
And that's when Nate reported seeing him sneaking in through the side on a couple of occasions while she was away. So that was...
Yeah, and what he did is he left. So when he would come home from work with his truck, he would open up the garage, but then he started realizing, okay, let me take out the Lexus right then and there, and then park it in the street. And then I would close the garage, so that way the Lexus is already out of the garage. Then I would close the garage. I'm in the house, and then I, let Dieter out. I make myself, my dinner, my lunch for tomorrow. Now I'm sneaking out the basement window to then take the Lexus to NK's. Then in the morning, I have to drive the Lexus, leave it on the street or at least in the driveway, but I cannot, whatever I do, I cannot open up that garage door. I have to go into the house through the garage or through the basement window again to be inside. Then I have to open up the slider to let Dieter out. You know, you have to act like you were in that home.
You know,
and that's how Shanann caught him. Then what she caught onto was, because we all know nothing was wrong with the house. Nothing was wrong with any of the alerts. He just told her that. So then why would he have to call Vivint to stage a phone call? Because she looked at the phone bill and saw, you didn't call anybody yet. Why haven't you called Vivint yet?
That's really crazy. Like, I can't, it's so weird to me that a person would think they could say that to their partner and not make them really uncomfortable by saying, and I also checked our phone records and I know that you didn't call them to do what you were supposed to do on your honey-do list or whatever.
Yeah. And how you would just say it is, Chris, I just checked. Have you called them yet? Like, you know, when she was on the phone with him, she would call him really quick and say, you know, have you called them yet? You know, you haven't called. She had to say something to the effect that, you know, I looked, he would need to make some type of, again, why wouldn't he just tell her, yeah, I already called them. They're going to send me something. Why would you actually have to make that phone call? Because in the beginning, he doesn't make the phone call. It's not until on the 14th.
You know what? Up until now, this is
July 15th. July 15th. July 15th is when he actually makes his first, why fake the phone call in the first place if you know nothing's wrong?
right.
Like, what is your wife saying to you that you're like, shit, I have to, you know, I don't know if you guys, I did a whole episode. If you've never had the Vivint and how it works with the app on your phone, you can lock the house from your app. You can see everything from it. So to say that he made it so she couldn't see anything, that's not true. It's not true. That's not, like, I mean, he would have to take the whole thing offline. But the point is that you would never have to fake a phone call unless she's telling you that you didn't call them. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I would just tell you if I was talking to my significant other, hey, I already talked to them. They're going to, you know, mail us something or, you know, whatever. It's coming in the mail, period. End of story. Why would I actually call them up and talk to them about something that I know is not even like happening? Like, I know that all I did was open up a garage door when I came home when I shouldn't have, because it makes it seem like that I'm not in the house and that I was outside the house, which that's exactly what he was doing. But you don't have to stage this phone call and call multiple times unless you felt that you had to. And it'd be because your wife's telling you that you haven't called them yet. Either it's going to be that I called them and they have no idea about an order form, or that I checked the phone records and all it comes down to is that, okay, so Chris is hiding having an affair. He knows how to hide having this affair and how he has to get out of the house. Now he's just going to commit premeditated murder, back up his truck with a camera there, load up bodies, and then just, you know, drive away in a GPS truck, take them to his work and dig a half a grave and put children in oil tanks and think, baby girl, we are home free. Let me just pawn this ring and life's going to be great. Like, that has to be the most effed up thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. I was just muted. I was trying to say the same thing. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Well, she's really into this point. But I always took him calling Vivint, and I might be totally wrong in how I interpreted this, but I always thought that he was actually calling Vivint in attempt to do something that would cut off Shanann's ability to spy on what was happening in the home.
There's nothing there. They didn't have cameras inside the house.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, spy on like even have the level of awareness and information that she had based on what you're talking about right now, that, you know, things were done out of order. Like I was, and I may have added more to this than there actually is. I thought for some reason, and I think they did add more to it than there is, that he was talking to Vivian in order to like change their agreement or their plan or their, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have much else to say. I think I was just wrong about that because you just kind of cleared it up.
Well, I think that she, like, because you just have to go back to the whole thing as to how does she even know about anything? She's not there at the house. Like,
well, it's like, you know, when
I don't check on, why would I be checking my phone app to know when the doors are opening and closing and all, like, why would I be doing that?
Well, I know like it's a little different, but you know, if I'm away from home, whenever my ring, whatever it is, ring, you know, the little camera ring bell or what's it called in the front door?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I get notifications. Yeah, I get notifications from that for various reasons, and you know, no matter where I am, I mean, they are push notifications. I don't know if Vivian has that or not, but I'm always checking them just because I want to know what's going on.
Push notification is like you get to pick that option. Okay. Yeah, there was other cameras in the area. I don't know if you know this, but you do know when it came back on his security system, there was nothing recorded from 1 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the 13th.
Nothing.
Like the subpoena, when it came back, the warrant came back, there was nothing recorded.
What?
Yeah, did you see that? That's like, that's a discovery. It was in the second dump. So they put it into to Comcast they asked for.
Okay. So the request.
1 a.m. to 2. 1 a.m. So when Shanann and them arrived back, it's like, you know, 1:42 or something. Mm-hmm. So they asked for the records from 1 a.m. till 2 p.m. Mm-hmm. And nothing was recorded on Nate's camera during that period.
Wait, wasn't it?
I don't know why that doesn't bother anybody.
Wait, wasn't it that they put the request into Comcast, the request for information, and Comcast did not have the
there was no sensors on the basement windows, for the record. I think he disabled the garage door sensors and basement window sensors, so those could be accessed without Shanann Watts knowing. Right. There was no sensors on the basement windows. Hmm. That wasn't an option. Hmm. They didn't have that feature in their house, which was stupid, but they didn't have it.
Yeah, so that
my point is that you don't know about any of this unless you are literally spying on your husband or keeping tabs on his every movement, which is fine. But if you believe that she's doing that, which it's proven because she knows about it all, she's saying that this Vivian is not working right. This is happening. So she's paying attention to every little thing. That's the type of person she was. So I can't be a dummy when I'm doing an investigation and say, oh, she would never check her phone bill. She would never check the log.
Right.
I believe that 100% she did. And so therefore then she knows about, she knows about stuff.
She does.
I mean, she's going to know, you're going to be able to tell what numbers your husband's calling and who's calling your husband.
Right.
And what numbers you're texting and who's texting him. That's what you're going to know.
Right.
If she,
man, yeah. And don't have a didn't I remember at some point. Oh, I think it was in their home videos where he mentions that they had a phone plan. This happened with myself and my son for a while, so I had to change this. Where all of my contacts would be his contacts, all of his contacts would be my contacts. A lot of times, like information of our separate communications were coming to one another's phone. It's a kind of like family plan you can have. And he mentioned it at some point in a Facebook Live, and I don't know how close to this time it was in 2018, but that they had that kind of plan where you could really see everything that was going on.
Yeah. If you were with, I mean, Chris talks about that. Chris talks about how they, with the iCloud, and that when Shanann would have certain things, it would like, that they had multiple, there'd be like, let's just say Stacy, there'd be like 4 numbers for state, like there'd be 4 entries of Stacy because.
Right. Yeah.
He talked about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yikes. Wow. He really wasn't trying to hide anything.
I think it's funny that Tag Your It's in here. And yeah, there's two dumps. There are 2 discovery dumps that happened in 2018. One was right after Thanksgiving. And then there was another, like, I don't know, like 700 or 800 pages. I think at the beginning of 2019. I can't remember the exact dates. But I just think it's funny that Tag Your It's in here.
Hi, Tag Your It.
How did Elo get a second dump? Elo's smart, I guess. That's funny. Yeah, so
oh boy. Eric Roman says, am I the only one who thinks Niko wasn't Chris Watts' baby? There are videos online where people have connected the conception date right in the middle of one of the Thrive trips. Yeah, that guy, Chris Miller. I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, I think there's there's actually a lot of circumstantial evidence to point to that. In fact, Chris said it in one of his statements that, and Nicole Kessinger even said it, that Chris said that, remember when I asked you before, I said, what would make you, go crazy if you're Chris Watts, and would it be saying, hey, you're not the only one that's been cheating,
right?
This, that, and the other, and to say that the baby isn't yours, and that you're going to have no rights to Cece because she's not yours either. I mean,
do you think that?
Oh, I'm just saying, when they're talking about New Orleans trip, her friend thought that Chris Miller was her husband, and he's not. And she put that in her report, Cindy Dorsett. And the conception date, everybody wants to say, oh, there's proof that Niko's, Chris Watts is. Well, for the record, the family has never been told that during the time frame that I was involved with. They had no idea if Chris, who the father was. That was never told to them. That was a question that they had. Lana, where was Shanann Watts? That was found in the couch. The phone.
The watch. Sensitive topic.
The Wattses haven't been told that's your answer. What answer is that? That's my, I don't know who the baby daddy is, but is it possible for it to be Chris Miller's? Absolutely. With the things that people that were saying online, people thought, just like Cindy Dorsett thought, that Chris Miller, because Chris Miller was in New Orleans that weekend that she received the magazine award.
Mm-hmm.
People thought that Chris Miller was her husband, and they made references and said it had to be the leopard. It had to be the leopard, and it was because she wore that leopard print dress. And
right.
But see, like her closest people from Thrive, like the Cassie and the NA and like the Addie and them, like they really knew who her husband was, and he was obviously not on that trip. But these other women, because this was like the big convention where there was thousands of people there, they didn't know that, to the point that Cindy Dorsett in her interview said she was asked, when's the last time you saw them? And she said, I saw them in New Orleans, like March or April in New Orleans. I saw them. And she was, because it was asked when the last time she saw Chris and Shanann. And she's referring to, this woman is saying that she thought Chris Miller was Chris Watts.
Oh,
and then the next time she's interviewed, she then says,
yikes,
that she's never met Chris Watts. And it's like, well, which is it? It's like, no, somebody caught you and said, like, that's just how these women didn't know each other like people think.
No.
Just a couple of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that like MLM culture, people become really buddy, like best friends really quick. They're all bonding over the same, like, I don't know.
And like, I mean, it's not like they didn't look that much like I said, if you didn't know who these people were and you weren't stalking them, like, she's there with Chris Miller. Like, that's who she's taking all of her pictures with. That's who's holding all of her awards when she's there. If I didn't know Shanann personally, I would definitely like think that those two are together.
Yeah.
So that's what people thought, because then when she posted that she was pregnant and posted like, oops, we did it again, people said it had to be the leopard print did it or whatever.
That's right.
So why are people saying that? Well, because they thought that it was like a month later, number one, but number two, they clearly thought that that her husband was clearly in New Orleans.
Yikes.
So I'll take a couple more questions though. I'm supposed to go live here at 10 for one of my other cases. I feel bad, like if there's stuff in chat, I haven't really been.
So DTC Primetime has a lot of questions. She just got here. She always does. So we'll give you a shot, DTC Primetime. Oh my goodness. Blonde hair with two black. Well, Eric Merrick Roman says, how did Cece get blonde hair with two black haired parents? I was that situation, and I think I both my parents' child. It can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Cece looks like Shanann too.
I think she looks like Sandy.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I don't think anybody was. There was no justification. I don't think that. I think that just goes back to saying like the motive to kill, premeditated. It's not there, and I don't believe, even if there's multiple people involved, or even if it's just people want to think that NK was involved. There's been people that think that NK went to the house that night. And that she was there when Shanann came home. Well, let's say that's true. Because let's say that they thought that Shanann's flight wasn't coming in, so she just was over there because, to romp around. But premeditated just isn't there for me with the evidence.
I don't think premeditated is there. Like I said earlier, I don't think it's premeditated. I think Chris Watts it was a perfect storm in a lot of ways. I mean, as trite as it kind of is to say that, but I think he was a personality that's really susceptible to influence. I think that he, you know, has a strong attachment to whoever the woman in his life is. It's like a really like, you know, like all or nothing, you know, connection with that person. And I think Nicole Kessinger was an extremely possessive, jealous, and insecure woman. And she wanted Chris Watts. She saw what she was up against with this family and this, you know, it would appear to be beautiful life that he had. And, you know, although she may not have given him an ultimatum per se, I mean, she did, and it was a 7-page letter. Maybe, you know, a PR firm touched it, but, you know, I think I think, Chris, you're not being fair to myself or your family. You have to choose one or the other. I think a PR firm cleaned it up. I think how it really probably came out in July was like, what the bleep? Look at this, you know, her flipping out, but along those same lines. Like, you can't have both anymore. Gigs up. It's been 2 weeks. MRFer, pick, you know. I like that's just my idea on how it went down.
See, I also don't think that there should even be this whole thing of picking. That doesn't even make sense if you really think about it.
No.
What do you mean he needs to pick? They're going through a separation. They're getting divorced. So what does she mean you have to pick? That doesn't even make any sense to me.
Yeah. Well,
he's already picked before you've arrived, according to Chris. So do you get what I'm trying to say? Like
yeah.
That's where when you want to dissect something like that, to me, that's my first dissection is there is no picking because the picks already happened.
No,
and the
I
pick
think
was that
go ahead.
He's separated. He's getting divorced. And it was, like you said, prior to meeting, like anything with
But I think she's insatiable. And I think, that pick did happen. But there's a bigger pick because, okay, say she believes you're getting separated. You already picked. You're getting separated, but you're still in this house. So let's go to the next pick and you get out of here and get your own apartment. Really start making that separation separate. I just see her strongly being the kind of person who's going to just keep pushing that and pushing that and pushing that. And I see.
I just don't think that that's there though, because that's just an opinion then. Because Nicole Kessinger didn't even do any. I mean, the only interviews that she did was through the police.
Mm-hmm.
And
where she talks about how hard she was working to find him an apartment. Or maybe not. I'm not attached to it. That's what I think is there.
Well, that would either be in the evidence or it wouldn't. If you're working hard to find somebody an apartment, that means you'd filled out an online contact. You'd have to put your name in, you know, put all your information in, and you go like, did you go and visit this place? Like, what do you mean worked hard? Like,
well, I mean, my guy talks about it enough.
That's all paper trail.
Well, okay, so maybe it is all paper trail, but how much of the actual?
No, I'm saying like that could be proven false or true just in, what was the name of the apartment complex? What was the name, you know, of the site that you went on?
But they didn't, I mean, it's not my fault they didn't follow up with those questions. The investigators didn't really care to get all that information, certainly not in discovery like so many other things aren't. But I just think she felt like I just felt like she was trying to usher him quickly through the steps he was going to take in the separation. And I think that just led to the frame of mind of murdering his family somehow. But maybe not.
I think she made like a really good point at the beginning, which was he didn't have to kill his family. Like it doesn't make any sense. Why would he do that? Like, his family just doesn't come home one day, and I'm not going to be like, "Where's your family?"
Mm-hmm.
And you have to also put yourself in a situation when you're being interviewed for something like that. Your mind, I mean, like, I would be like, "Wait, what?" I started talking to this person 6 weeks ago. Now their family's all gone or missing, and you could tell that she's barely slept. She's on the phone with her dad in the mornings at like ass crack of dawn. I think that she said it best when she said, I've had a feeling that maybe he was lying about some things or not being honest. So like I was like quizzing him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she wasn't telling any of her friends about him. That's because Shanann was pregnant.
Yeah.
That's
Embarrassing.
so to sit here like and say like you didn't know that she was pregnant, it just makes her look less of like a home wrecker or whatever.
Right. Right.
But then the other thing is how are you a home wrecker if he's already, going through the separation and divorce process? You met him under those situations, like those circumstances.
Right.
I think that she contradicts herself. I think she contradicts herself. I think a lot of women in that situation would. You can't sit here and say that Nicole Kessinger's a moron. It's on the news. There's a man, like, think about this, like how we stalk, true crime. You look at the television and there's your boyfriend,
Right.
and he's being interviewed by News 7 and his family is missing, and you're going to be looked at as like this mistress or you know what I'm trying to say? Like, what are you going to, I mean, that'd be like a surreal thing to be in.
Just start a YouTube channel. That would be surreal. I mean, yeah.
And then you're trying to think of, okay, well, what's relevant and what's not, and people are asking you questions, and
Eric Roman says Shanann strikes me as a person who likes revenge. So her getting pregnant at the same time Chris Watts was having an affair is more than a coincidence. I think it's SW saying I can have my fun too. Woo. The pregnancy, maybe. Oh, but man.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot to say about that, because the morning after she finds out he's cheating with all of her friends, she's saying, "Good morning, baby, love you." She's making it so that I don't want him to think that I know anything because of what? Like, that's what you call, like, you're doing that for a reason. Otherwise, you would say that we need to talk. I found this, whatever.
Yeah.
But she's making it that, I love you, baby, blah, blah.
Well, I think it was like, I think for her, there was probably an experience of like a huge kind of power struggle. She was always just in control of
what?
him.
I think that NK so wanted that house and that car. I'm sorry.
She may have. She
Okay,
talked
guys.
about.
Okay, can we talk about something about NK? NK is like a dude's girl, like a dude's. She's in the oil field. She's like a tomboy. Like, she doesn't give a shit about that type of stuff, just like Chris doesn't give a shit about that.
I don't know. I kind of think, I sort of have a different opinion. Maybe she is. I think, it also could be said that she is trying to be that because she knows that's what he wants, because that's everything that Shanann is not. And I think that she knew what Shanann was. I think that she did look into this and she found it. She tried to figure out what it is that's going to make him happy, what's going to make, her, the girl that he's going to never want to leave. Or maybe she is just a guy's girl. But I think we don't know. I think that's the point. I think we don't know. I feel like I could go either way with that, because I think there's so much about her that's contrived. I don't know.
Just disagree with that. I think that when they're talking, like Chris was talking about, he was being honest with her about stuff like their house broke. Their house broke. And you know what I would have said? Well, if Shanann's making $80,000, $75,000, $80,000, like you say, she's making close to what you make, and that's right around what you're making.
Right.
How are you guys all house broke?
Yeah.
Because if Shanann actually made that type of money and they both were making $75,000, their lifestyle is perfectly fine how they're living for $150,000 a year. You know, so that's where I would be like, if, you know, let's say that I was in that situation and I'm NK and I'm an intelligent human being, and this guy tells me that his wife is making just as much money as him, I would tell him that that's impossible, because otherwise you guys would not be fucking broke.
Exactly.
And I would show that on paper how that would be possible, that that means you're bringing in this much money per month, which is let's say $10,000 combined.
Break it down like the macros.
And then you know, your $5,300 that you're spending on your house and
Primrose
is $5,300. Okay, then you have what? Gas, electric, blah blah blah. You have money then. I would call it out right there. Either you're not making the $75,000 or she's not.
Right.
And if you show me, here, this is my direct deposit, so I see it. Okay, well then I'm gonna let you know this right now. Your wifey poo isn't making. And so could that be where the resentment came in? Could it be the fact that Chris started to realize things in their financial situation because of NK pointing that out? Because I know that I would point that out. If somebody came to me that I was talking to and saying that their wife made just as much money as them, I would say then there's no way that your house broke, because you'd have plenty of money if you're both making combined $150,000.
That's right. And I really think he was kind of clueless, or he chose to be clueless before NK brought that to light, if she did at all. Because when he talked to me, I was like, oh yeah, she was doing great. You know, like Coder says, like, was she making like actual money, or was it just like, she's like, oh yeah, she was doing great. She was making like as much as me. And he sounded so earnest, and I don't know.
Like I said, you just can't have it both ways. Either these people are morons or these people are intelligent. It's one or the other. You can't be a moron when it's convenient and intelligent when, like, it's got to be across the board.
No, I don't. I think that people play moron when it's convenient, or intelligent when, you know, if they are intelligent when it works for them. And, you know, I think in that situation, I think he may have I think there was a lot he chose to be blind to because it was just easier for him. I don't know. Maybe not.
I think that Shanann and Chris completely failed Bella and Celeste, period. Yeah. And I think that if everything was so horrible in North Carolina, that the grandparents should have stepped up and said, these babies are not going back with you two. You guys are acting like you guys are fighting. I mean,
absolutely.
Like, you would have to like see all this stuff. I mean, Shanann and Chris stayed with, you know, Shanann's parents, and I get that people can like hide things or whatnot, but
yeah, things could
you
not.
Know, they went to the beach with them, and
that's such a it's terrible.
Like if you felt that Shanann was going to do something to Chris, and that she was so off of her rocker. You know, no one's talking about the kids though. It's all about Shanann and Chris Shanann. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm tired of hearing about Shanann and Chris.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. I'm tired of hearing about NK. Like, I think that when you look at this case, you look at two selfish human beings, and Chris and Shanann both being selfish, because if all this was going on, like I said, she didn't go to her doctor's appointments. She did not take proper care of her and Niko to go to the doctor's appointments before she was supposed to go to Arizona.
Right.
Now you're going up to Arizona, but yet you are in fear that ever since Chris said that he didn't want the babies, that's what you told Addie, that I'm scared to be around Chris. Well, then why would you leave your daughters?
I know.
Why would you leave your daughters with Chris? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. But that it does, because of selfish. That's selfish.
Sure is.
So it's, and I'll say this, that I have a child, and there's no way in hell I would ever say that I ever harmed my kid. I would never harm my kid. I would never say it. I don't care what would come out at trial, but I did not harm my kid. But if Chris wants to say that he did that, then Chris is where he belongs.
Yeah.
You know, I was told that he did not harm his kids. And my evidence that I did showed corruption, and it did not do any type of, it did not speak for the children whatsoever. Could Chris's events be accurate? Sure. Could it be the other way? Sure. Colorado did nothing to be the voice for Bella and Celeste, and Niko. And that's, in my opinion, that was Colorado's job once they went ahead and made a plea deal. They made that deal with Chris. Chris didn't make that deal, if you think about it. They offered that deal.
That's right.
And when you do that, then you need to be the voice for the victims, and they didn't do that.
I completely agree with that. And, like when, excuse me, that, famous statement, when Tammy Lee says, oh, well, Chris stopped the clock when he made the plea deal. I always say, no, he didn't stop the clock. Rourke stopped the clock when he chose to accept that plea deal. And then when he chose to, go forward to the public and make certain statements that he did in the press conferences he had, which I believe he knew were false. And it really, I think it impacted the way that, the family, handled this tragedy and a lot of things that happened down the road. I think it was a really just awful, evil domino effect. And we haven't even talked about that aspect of it, but yeah, Colorado sucks. That's my,
I think social media, when you want to keep it with the Joneses and you think that everything the way it is on social media, come on, why don't we posting our kids' D paper on the fridge and doing a live about it, or going live to say that our kid got a D? And your social media is highlighting your best of the best.
Yeah.
Which is not reality, because reality is not always, best. But it is very sad. All this is very sad. I agree. Who just wrote that? Donna. Yes, it's all sad. But I also don't think. I think that we need to take note that we have to start holding the courts and law enforcement, accountable, because it's situations like this that, let's say that Chris was completely innocent across the board. You got police officers and agencies not doing their job, and they're actually fudging stuff. So
yeah,
that's my big thing, because this is what happens when there's actually innocent people, and we got to start holding
them accountable.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's the way I feel about, the way the justice system's working in this case and so many others. It's people will say, oh, why are you still talking about that case? But, I think especially as people live in this country, it's our right, it's our privilege, and it's our obligation to, make sure that, each community or each court system is upholding the values that we want to live by. And if we aren't part of that, it's not going to happen. And then things are going to start to crumble more than they already are. And we shouldn't let that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I gotta go. I gotta go talk about, Aliquippa, Pennsylvania.
What is that case? Well, I'll go. I'll check it out sometime. So you have to explain it here and there and everything.
Yeah, I'll email you some information on it. But
Awesome.
There's a couple different homicides. It's all grouped in one though. So yeah, it has your taste of corruption, the mob, racism, police. It's got it all.
Nice. And have we been putting up Truth and Transparency, the channel for I think most people here are probably subs, but can somebody put that up if we haven't been? I'm sorry, I didn't remind. I was so into
Oh, it's okay. I just want to say
conversation.
thank you to everybody in chat. Thank you to your mods. Thanks for my mods coming over.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on, and thank you to everyone.
Did you take care of that mouse?
Oh yeah, I will. I've been like looking around. I'm like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. It was really big.
Well,
I read bunnies, and I'm always so afraid, like, you know, they're gonna give the bunnies a disease or something.
Aw.
I don't
My
want
son
to
would love the bunnies.
Yeah. How old's your son?
He just turned 6
Aww.
in December, so.
Oh, I have just a son. He just turned 13. I'm a single mom.
Oh gosh, that's a fun age.
I know. I can't. I always said to myself, with each passing birthday, I'm just gonna appreciate him for, you know, for what he is he's getting a little older. But this one hurt my heart. He's a teenager. It was hard.
Aww.
It still is a little bit, yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed you, Kelly. Thank you so much for letting me come on.
Thanks for coming on.
I'm sure we'll talk again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, hon. Thanks again for everybody in chat. Appreciate you guys.
I'll have some follow-up. I got to think about some of this stuff.
All right. No, definitely.
Thank you so much, Katie. Thanks. Take care.
Okay.
Thanks,
bye, hon.
You're the best. Thank you. Oh, fun times, fun times. Oh, my goodness. DTC prime time. I knew that she had to get going to get to her, over to her channel. But you know what I think about this. The question is, how much does law enforcement know that we don't? They know a ton that we don't, you know, just even in, you know, so far as, you know, what my friend Alex had found out this like late summer or early fall. It was August or September. I can't remember which it was, or maybe it was both. You know, that people that were directly involved in investigating this case and were involved in handling the evidence and the information coming in, you know, through conversation, made it clear that all of, or almost all of, the communications between Kessinger and Watts were recovered. So, I mean, it's really not such a mystery to figure that out, though, because they talk about it. I know they know so much. It's just, I don't know. This discovery is a mystery. Let's see. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed. I thought it was really awesome to listen to what she had to say. But, you know, some of the conversations that Lana and I had were, I guess they're examples of conversations I have with other people who have different theories, some theories that I think are way out there, or just the thought process that I go through when I'm listening to somebody talk about their theory or, you know, their version of what they think happened. I think it's really easy for us to become attached to our version that we believe in and to talk about it and present it as though it's the truth and as though the conclusions we've come to are the only conclusions to come to of that sort, you know, in the case. But that's usually not it at all. There's usually many ways to think about a lot of issues in the Watts case and every other true crime case for that matter. Oh, Joan, is it possible? Could you Oh, Tree of a Kind said she thought she was on Lana's channel the whole time. No, if you're here, hello, welcome. I hope you enjoyed. I've done that before. I've been in hi, say Robbie, how you doing? I've been on channels, you know, where there's two different creators and I just don't even know where I am. Oh boy. Just a second here. My lips are so chapped. I have some, like, what's that stuff called? Carmex or whatever. Oh, here it is. No. Yeah, I'll get it later. It's so cold up here. It was like, I don't know, in single digits all day today. Oh, Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to keep an open mind because, I mean, the fact of the matter is, guys, this case is still talked about. It still lives on. We still have live streams. We still ask questions because a lot of the questions haven't been answered unless you believe, I don't know. Oh, boy. What do you think, Save Robbie? What do you think about the Watts case? I don't know if you've talked about the Watts case directly in a while. I don't know. It's still interesting. Yes, it is. I'm blown away. Let's see. I'm blown away that no one ever speaks of it. Of course, it'd be on Shanann's mind. It would affect that nobody ever speaks of. Thanks for coming over, Desired. It was really nice seeing ya. Take care. Huh. Robbie loves NK. No. Robbie doesn't love it. Yeah, no. No one loves NK. So Save Robbie says he has an unpopular opinion. But you're undecided. What's your unpopular opinion? Oh, come on. Do tell. I've ever heard this before. I don't know. Joan, Tree of a Kind wants to know what your profile picture says. She says it's too small to see it. LMB, I'm glad you don't love NK. Yeah, I mean, what's there to love? Oh my God, she's like a prickly little creature. We love an unpopular opinion. Yeah, unpopular opinions are great. The one thing that I really do feel convinced of everything, in this case that it may still be a mystery or just, not investigated yet is, what I was talking about a lot this evening. And it's everything that surrounds July 14th, what that day signifies and the events that happened on July 14th. I just really think NK showed up there. They had their nice little date day at the Shelby Museum I think that's where they went to the house. She felt uncomfortable, as she should. I mean, come on now. I love it when she's in the, when she's being interviewed and she's saying to Kobach, like, and I actually, I felt uncomfortable there. Like, I didn't want to go back. Like, is that supposed to be news? You shouldn't feel comfortable there. And if you did, that would be a real problem, So, Angelica, I keep just catching comments you make, but I don't have every time I'm like, what's the context? I want to know more. A 4-year-old child was involved, and it happened at the same hotel where they stayed later with Chris. Joan, I knew you were going to say that. You don't have to be embarrassed about the house and the house and the vehicle. I think she wanted those things too. See, I don't, like Lana's opinion was like, oh, NK is like a guy's girl. Like she's, she's like super not material, and she's like down with like drinking beer and whatever, smoking cigars. I don't know. And I don't know if she really is that. I think that her whole personality and her whole way about her is so affected and contrived. I just think that's what she determined she believes Chris Watts wants, because that's everything that Shanann is not. And we know that, I think she knew that he wasn't really that happy with Shanann, so she made herself into the girl that he wanted. You know, I just think that's all there is to it. She probably would have loved the house and the car. I'm going to turn my camera off here because I have to rummage around for my chapstick because my lips hurt. Oops. Let's see. DTC primetime, you were so funny. Let me pin that. You were like, I don't know, you said something about Jim, and then you're like, well, Jim needs love too. So DTC primetime says, Robbie, what do you think of Jim? She's loving on Jim today. Kind of cast aside, and deserving some sympathy. That's where I'm at. Yeah, you're just really loving on him today. Aw, that's so sweet of you. Let's see. Robbie thinks Jim is harmless. Oh, okay. So Angelica clarifies what she was saying before. Kelly was Shanann's cousin, a 4-year-old, was a victim of a shooting. I had heard that I haven't heard about that in a really, really long time. I heard about that a really long time ago. And I don't remember much about it, actually. That's a pretty big thing to just cast out of memory. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so 3 of a kind and Robbie like lean towards the original confession. Got it. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, God, I don't know. There at one point in time, I would have said no way. Like I didn't believe it. I would not believe it. Now, you know, and I'm not one who thinks Shanann is a saint by any means. Yeah, by any means. I talk about it in some of the videos I put out, but you know, she's a human being and she wasn't allowed to live out her life where she would have learned lessons. I always say this, and evolved and become wiser and matured. So, you know, it's not like harsh judgment on her, but I don't think she was a saint. I think that she had a lot of mistakes. Like I said, I would have at some point said no way, but I guess I'm starting to consider more of what was her mental makeup at that time. You know, I'm starting to realize that the people around her really are describing her strongly as being in this like really bad state, this really bad way of being. I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. Listening while cutting my hair. Oh, Robbie, how is COVID? I was in like your chat the day you were going to get the test, and I was actually home with COVID at that time. It's a few weeks later now, and I'm still, I don't know if you can hear it, really congested and tired, but you know. Oh, just Larry. Hey, you're still here. Awesome. Oh, Jim does just need a hug. So, just Larry, what do you think about all this? I know you have moved away from I think you said like bigger theories, conspiracy theory. I don't know what you'd call them to be accurate. Yeah, you do have a very good memory, Angelica. You really do. Good for you. Oops. Joan says, DCD, prime time. My head is still believing NK Jim and dad knew. Okay. Maybe. See you next time, Angelica. Thanks for coming. It's always great having you here. See, Robbie says, I see it like this. If I was a person who did not do nice things, then do I automatically become a saint when I pass away? If I was a person who did not do, I don't know. I think that's up to the saints who had passed before you. Oh, come on. I'm getting these like little pop-up ads. Come on. I'm supposed to have a new computer delivered here today. It was not here though. Very disappointing. There we go. All right. Okay. So Robbie is spectacular and he got over COVID in about 13 days, but I'm tired. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really like butt kicked like all the time. Yeah. Mama Jane D texted me during that live stream and she was like something like, are you okay? Like I looked like, I don't know. People in chat were saying I was drunk. I'm like, no, I'm just freaking exhausted. It's like, 10 o'clock. I've been up since 6 doing stuff. People, cut others a break. Seriously. I can see my eyes are like red because I've been up too long and I'm still getting over COVID. My son, who's 13, had at the same time as me, and he was like, he had a cough for a day, and then he was fine. Those like youth genes do well. Let's see. Just Larry says, I still believe CW did it, but I think NK was involved. Yeah. That's exactly basically what I think. Just Larry. I mean, I think that she was. Whether she was intending for this to be the impact or I don't know. I think she kind of intended it. I think she was like, I think she was manipulating him. I think she was putting things in his head. I think that she was giving him a soft ultimatum about, choosing her or his family. Lana said, well, he'd already picked, he already was, separating from Shanann, but I don't think that he really did. I mean, I think that he was thinking about it because he got with NK. Maybe he would have entertained the idea at times before meeting her. I don't know that. I couldn't possibly know that. But I think he was just starting to entertain the idea. I don't think he picked. But even if he did pick, meaning like he was going to leave Shanann so he could be free to be with NK, she wanted him to pick more. Keep picking. She's definitely that kind of chick. I'm for sure on that. Vanessa Orr, have you been here in quiet or have I not? Nice to see you as always. Vanessa Orr says to say, Robbie, I was in the CD hospital for 8 days. Oh, I was sick for 8 months. Jeez. Oh, really? Oh, no. That's not good. I'm sorry to hear that, Vanessa Orr. I actually feel like I have right now I feel flushed. I feel like I have a fever. I don't know. Not to match that with you. This is just, I had to spend like a month, but I'm sorry to hear that. That's scary. That's really scary. I had one day, it wasn't even, maybe it was a full day. I don't know. Apparently I slept for 4 days straight. I didn't even know it. Like literally 4 days straight. I think I got up to pee and that was it, like twice. I had one day where I was having a tough time, like getting a complete breath in. And that was really scary. And I knew that I would be fine. I knew I could like get in as much of a breath as I needed to be okay. But it made me really think about the people that truly struggled with breathing when they had this. And it's like, it's suffering. It's awful. It's terrible. I feel really bad that people have gone through that. Oh, Robbie, do in my. So, just Larry, what were you talking to your aunt about? Let me see here. About the. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's crazy. Chat amongst yourselves if you'd like. I'm gonna actually go get some juice while I'm thinking about this. Feeling a little under the weather. Mm-hmm. Oh, da, 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 da. Cha, 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 cha. Okay. I just got lost. Oh boy. Who refuses forensic evidence? Are we? Here I am. I totally got lost. I was like taking care of my little bunnies upstairs and I just got lost. I told you I'm not feeling so hot. What was I gonna say? Oh, who refuses forensic evidence? Is are you talking about in the Watts case in CBI? Oh yeah. So there's oh goodness, there's just so much I could go on about all this forever. Probably like most of you. Something I've just noticed people saying kind of recently, and a lot of them are people that have theories that I do not really believe in. They're just a little too extravagant for me. Will say, oh, there was no DNA evidence in the truck of anyone else being in the truck. Well, we actually don't know that because CBI refused that evidence, the trace evidence, the trace lifts from the driver's seat, the backseat driver's side, the center console, and like the steering wheel. So I think DTC prime time, wasn't it? You and I, we were kind of talking about this. I had always thought that Chris Watts' plea deal was closer in time to that CBI refusal of what I certainly believe would be that critical evidence, and what I thought CBI themselves would think is critical evidence, since after all, Tammy Lee did say 1,000 times to Chris Watts, there's one thing we know, it's that they left in your truck, well, let's test every freaking thing in the truck, right? Duh. She says it herself. One thing we know, the family left in the truck. Okay. So the refusal of that evidence actually took place on September 4th, 2018, of course. And the sentencing was like 2 full months later. So we go back to Tammy Lee's famous or infamous statement that Chris Watts making a plea stopped the clock. But I actually say to that, it wasn't him making a plea that stopped the clock. It was Rourke accepting the plea. Maybe we're going to call that details. I think it's material, but that's for another time. So, okay, so that stopped the clock, whether we're talking about Watts stopping the clock or Rourke stopping the clock. So that was like, what, November 6th, I think, or it was election day. I don't know. It was in the beginning of November. But that refusal of all of that critical evidence happened 2 months later. Well, the plea didn't happen at that time when all that evidence was refused. The plea didn't happen until 2 months later. So what happened to all of the moments on the clock between when that evidence was collected, when it was decided it would not be tested or analyzed, and then when Chris Watts actually pled? So I don't even find her statement of, saying whomever stopped the clock with the plea deal not accurate at all. The clock was stopped way before then. Yes. Oh, yes, I have bunnies. I have Holland lops. I have a rabbit tree. It's Central Hop Rabbit Tree. We raise Holland lop bunnies. We currently have, way too many resident bunnies. We're supposed to have 18, but I think we have 21 right now. They're don't picture me like in a house like knee deep in bunnies. They're all housed very nicely. But yeah, I love rabbits. No, November 6th. Thank you. They were blanking on it. Yeah. What do I know? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, dead body. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yes, it would have left something. Yes, for sure. Let's see. What do you know about 319 and Cervi, and that they weren't at Cervi? What? Say it again. You got. I didn't catch that. So Joan says, what did you know about 319 and Cervi, that they weren't at Cervi? What's everyone's? Yeah. Just restate your question, dear. I know you want people to get bunnies away. I have a hard time with it sometimes. They're so freaking cute. They're so sweet. Adorable. Okay, so Vanessa, so you've worked with this FBI several times, and clearly from what you're saying, it seems that you have a high opinion of them in general, which I think is good. We probably should. What's your opinion of the handling of things in this case, like the evidence that was collected and not analyzed, for example, or any other aspect of this case that people characterize as being like shoddy work? What do you think about that, being a law enforcement professional? Yes, three of a kind. They are so cute. I have to I told the last chat last night I was going to put something in the community post about them. Hi, Lily. I'll just put some pictures up in the community post pretty soon here. In my community post on Watts the Obsession. If anyone is not sure where they are. Okay, so wait a minute. Hey, DMACG, how you doing? Let's see. Wait a minute. I still understand what Joan was asking. Oh, okay. Apparently there's two cervixes. There's two apparently there's two cervies. And okay. So there was on that day, Chris Watts went to Cervi 319 and 1029, right? So I'm wondering what creator you're talking about, but he was definitely a 319. See, some of these, teach their own. Everyone can have their own opinion, but I think some people are going just really getting out there with, I don't know. So, oh geez. Yeah, his phone didn't connect to Wi-Fi until 9 a.m. Yes and no, and I already did 3 live streams on that that I paid a dear price for, so we can go back and review those sometime if we need to. Okay. Oh, it's okay. You're good, Joan. Okay, so Vanessa Orr says I worked primetime the NCIC. Oops, I'm tired too. I just hit the wrong one. Where's hers? Wait, that's it. Okay. Computer that the state and FBI ran. The National Crime Information. Oh, cool. Wow. You've got some really awesome experience. Prime time. Right, Joan? Because his phone didn't. Oh, yeah, we already said, yeah. Oh, you had 2 Honlops. Oh, Candy and Dandy. That's so cute. That's super cute. I'm going over to my community post right now. I can do one on the live, another window, easy breezy. I'll post a few pictures of them right now. Hi guys, how are you? You're so cute. Oh. David Carter is supposed to be on tomorrow night. I think it's 7. As long as I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling a little under the weather right now, but hopefully a good night of sleep will clear that up. Let's see. So, oh yeah, so David has his own channel. I was looking at that today, and then I'm going to play that recording tomorrow. That's the extended version of one that many of us had already heard on 80s channel or somewhere else a while ago. I've had this recording for months that is the extended version of David's conversation with CBI or whomever it was he talked with. And somebody gave it to me and said, you can do with it what you want. And I said, well, I'm not going to do anything with it unless I get David's permission. Like, I'm just not going to rule like that. And I think at the time, I don't know, he was unavailable at the time. I couldn't get a hold of him. So I didn't get his permission. So I just held on to it. So then when he popped into chat yesterday, he was like, oh yeah, sure. You can play that. Okay. Oh, come here, sweetie. Come here, sweetie. Wait, here. I got a bunny right here. Whoopsie. Come here, baby. It's okay. You're so cutie. Aw, you're so cute. Let's see. I'll turn my camera back on. Come here, honey. It's okay. This one's very friendly. Oops. I was just like, come here, honey. Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay, baby. It's okay. I know you want to go play with Lily, don't you? I know. Shh. Don't mind my hair. I was just like forward folding, so it's all like insane. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? Let's see. Camera. Okay. Little bunny. Hi, honey. There's a bunny. Hello. Whoops. Oh. She's a little scared. Oh, it's okay, honey. Oh, do you know that? Oh, she's not usually like this. Shh. Do you know there's a lot of people here? Is that what's wrong? Let's see, let me hit that way. There we go. Here, sweetie, what's wrong? Oh, do you not say hi? I don't want to lift you up because I don't want you to get upset. There you go. This bunny is one of this is why we have more bunnies than we usually do, because, winter litters. What's wrong, baby? I have a harder time adopting bunnies out in the winter than in like the spring. So we had an unplanned winter litter. So they're just hanging out here because it was just too much on top of everything else to try to find them homes. Hi, sweetie. So we just call her Small Bunny because she was like the run of the litter. There you go. You want to get down. When she was a little baby. Come here, Lily. Lily, come here, sweetheart. Come here, honey. Lily's my favorite. Come here, Lily. I didn't say that. Come here, Lily. And she's playing with Small Bunny right now. Lily, come here, honey. Oh, I see why you guys are going nuts. I brought another pair. I brought their litter box in here. It's just sitting here. Which probably sounds gross, but they're like, what the heck? Okay. Strong bunny smell, not us in here. Okay. Oh, David Carter. Yeah, David Carter was on a number of channels at some point. I think he was on AD first. Who cares? But yeah, he was on a number of channels. Right. Oh yeah, Lily's my bunny. Oh, that small one. I don't know. We might have to keep her too. She's really sweet. Lily is our bunny. She's one of our. Well, she was a breeding doe, but she had I don't know. I think she had a stroke recently. Her head was all. I don't know. Something was very wrong with her, but she's getting a little bit better. But I'm not going to breed her anymore because I don't know what the deal is. And our vet that was here locally in my small town retired. He was actually my family's vet when I was growing up, and I'm just turned 43, so it was a while ago. And I can't find a small animal vet in the area that's taking new. Come here, honey. It's taking new little bunny patients. Come here, sweetie. It's really hard to find. Hi, Lily. Come here. Hello. She's like, I don't know. I want to go play with Small Bunny. Yes, David Carter is a convicted felon, Vanessa. He's the one that was on yesterday. He was the one that was you're probably going somewhere with this. That was a prison mate or whatever with Chris Watts for a while. Now, he was on I don't know. I saw him a couple weeks ago. I was actually on Outback Outlaw and Preach Queen's channel for story. But he was, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. And I wanted to talk about somebody when he's not here. But yes, he is. Good night, Joan. Have a really good night. Thank you so much for moderating. You did awesome as always. Oh, holy shit. Oh, it's 11. I'm gonna go. I'm really tired. I'm gonna go to bed. So don't want to hear what he has to say. Yeah, I know. I hear you. I feel I you know, I don't know. I go a couple different ways on it. I don't. Yeah, I don't either. Am I going to do any more lives with Lana? I'm sure. I mean, I would totally love to sometime. I think there was so many more things I would have loved to have talked about with her. I actually had like a whole list of questions that I really wanted to ask her. And we didn't really, and sometimes it just goes this way. Didn't really get into most of them because, just the natural course of conversation was interesting enough where I didn't want to disrupt it. So yeah, but she was a great guest. She's just, I always find her to be very interesting, and she's, definitely studied her stuff. It's hard to find. Well, there are some people that are really well versed in the discovery. There's a decent amount, but she's definitely at the top of those who are well versed. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Nice to see ya. We're actually just wrapping up. Been here since 7:30. What am I doing? No, but you guys are great. It's wonderful. Oh. Oh, right. So let me go over. I'm going to go over that community post and post pictures of the bunnies before I forget, because I already almost forgot. I'm so tired. I don't know if you're still here, say Robbie, but I hope you just continue to feel better, less tired with time. And Vanessa, are you, all recovered by now? You mentioned that you were in the hospital for 8 days and had, things going on for 8 months. Are you still in that 8-month period, or do you feel like you've gotten over the hump, so to speak? I like my chapstick. Let's see if you can answer it, since I just asked a question. Delphi obsession. Oh, I know. I can't wait to. I have so many projects, videos I'm working on right now. And when you start a new case, forget the 6,000 Watts files I have. You have to get all new material. It's taking me a lot longer than I thought it would. Mostly, I think, because I was under the weather. But so you said you're okay. It's just a smell taste. Yeah, that's weird though. I know the Delphi case is so. Oh my God, it's just such a. It's so hard just to think that nobody's being held accountable for what happened to those little girls. Yeah. Truth of a kind. Yeah, Lana does know things inside out. That's awesome. It's great. There's certain, very few certain parts that I just, can tell you where they are because I've had interest in them. So I've, referenced them or read them or whatever so many times. But the discovery as a whole, I've read the whole thing once. And then only certain parts I've read again and again and again, but she has good, excellent command of it. Awesome. Yeah, Delphi I really want to get the Delphi one out. Well, I'm shooting for this week, for the anniversary week. my brain is very slow. Let me get this community post done. I'm going to go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it on my phone because I have better pictures on my phone. What? Some of the freaking comments. Kelly, you think NK is a victim and you see yourself similar to NK, but you bash NK and talk about her atrocities. What? I don't even know what this person's talking about. The comments, guys. The comments. All right, guys. I can't even think anymore. I'm like literally think I'm about to fall asleep. I'm posting the bunnies right now, but thank you guys all so very much for being here, and I hope everyone has a really good night. Yeah, just say thanks for your comments. That's what I usually do. I usually am very, committed to just neutralizing things, and it usually does, but, sometimes I'm just really not in the mood. Like right now, I'm really not in the mood. Yeah, absolutely, Tammy. I would love to. Absolutely. I would love to do that for sure. For sure. That's interesting, Vanessa. Yeah, I think it's definitely I think it's really good to. Good night, three of a kind. Definitely the best way to look at things is through logic. I mean, if you're looking through any other way, emotion is definitely not good. But the perspective I look at most things is like from a psychological aspect. I can't help it. That's just what I do. And the psyche is sometimes logical and sometimes not at all. So. All right, guys. Have a really great night. Thank you guys for being here. And hopefully I will see you tomorrow or sometime soon. And be safe. Stay warm. Catch those mice in your house. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys.